going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 280. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Brett Murdoch.
What's up?
Brian Manjoma.
What up, what up?
And joining us once again, Mr. Emilio Lopez.
What's up, people? How's it going?
Man, how you doing, brother? We've been missing you, man.
Yeah, it's going through a lot. I mean, I want to thank you guys for your, for just the shout out and everything to my mom and stuff. It's been really hard, especially now, because it's just insane, especially up in New York where she lived. So, yeah.
But yeah, no, we're glad to have you back, and glad you're recovering too. You got sick coming here.
Yeah, it's either got like the day after I went into New York. I went in Wednesday, and for like a day trip to kind of like see what I can see how much of her affairs I can. And me and my girlfriend Jossie got sick. We started getting sick like on Friday, so we're slowly. She's better. She's like she went into Odin sleep mode. I still got a little bit of cough and some little bit of body aches, but I'm feeling a lot better than I was.
That's good, man.
Drinking those fluids and all that stuff. So,
but yeah, no, but I'm glad you hit me up the other day. You're like, yo, I think I'm ready, man. I'm like, cool, man. Whenever you're ready, and you made the announcement earlier, which is good. Let the fans know.
Well, I've been, even though I wasn't there, I was still there. I would hang out in the Twitch chat and. Just throwing a couple of bits of 2 cents in this. It's just a lot of fun hearing everybody talking about stuff. Kind of gets my mind off of just general stuff that's going on.
Yeah, man, for real. A couple of chatters in here. Goose, what's going on, brother? He says Emilio is back. My best goes to you, mi hermano. So there you go.
Thanks, man.
And C. Iverson, who's actually, for you guys who don't know, that's actually my oldest nephew. He goes, yo, my pop says, what's up, Tony? And I hope you're safe. Yeah, man, shout out to him. And we're trying to stay safe, brother. We got another month of this shit. May 15th is when, New York is supposed to start opening up. So
literally on my birthday.
Yeah, another month of this shit, Other places are supposed to open up a little earlier, but New York, we got to wait out because we got hit hard,
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like when I went over there, and I was talking to you guys a little bit, in the text, and I was like, it's literally like the Division out here. Man. Empty streets. The only difference is that there's just a bunch of crazy homeless people walking around.
Yeah, so it's like the Division then.
Yeah. It's like when you get rid of all the regular people going to work and doing their jobs, you just get left with a bunch of fucking whack jobs. So yeah, there you go.
Man, yeah, like you see, like the underpinnings of New York or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, literally, when you come into New York, or at least from where I'm coming from, you come in right underneath Madison Square Garden, so Division.
The Garden, So anyway, let us get back into the business of talking about games, man. Actually, I do want to make a quick statement. Oh yeah, it's something I kind of noticed. Like I saw somebody on Twitter that I follow talking about how they were looking for some podcast to listen to because they're kind of sick of every one of their podcasts being nothing but about the C virus now, And my thing is, and she was like, oh, I'm trying to get away from this or whatever. And I understand that, and that's something we always try to do that on Throwdown. I jokingly said one time, like, yo, if 9/11 happens, the show will keep going, Obviously, when things go down, we have to discuss it, but we do try our best to give you guys a little bit of entertainment. That's why I'm purposely been letting these shows run a little longer than usual because you guys are stuck at home and shit, and you guys are appreciating that, so that's good, if we sacrifice a little bit of our sleep, that's okay, as long as you guys get your entertainment, you know what I'm saying? Something to take your mind off of this nonsense, but it's gonna pop up. That's just how it is now. Everything's affected by this shit. It
definitely helped me just being a passive listener, listening while I'm laying in the bed getting better. So,
that's it, stuff. Man. All right. So yeah, first news of the day, which is also our main topic, PlayStation 5 news, people. We're actually getting PlayStation 5 news. This one is more of a report. So things are obviously subject to change, but basically, PlayStation or Sony plans to have PlayStation 5 out this year, but it's going to be in limited quantities, probably around 5 to 6 million units, and they say the price is going to be between $500 and $550. You know, so let's talk about that. I do want to say this is not really tooting our own horn, but we did say it. We said if these things aren't delayed, they're going to come out this year, but be limited. You know, and apparently they're going to start manufacturing in June. Chris, remember I kept asking you when they're going to start this shit. It's in June.
Yeah.
That's when they're going to start. And interestingly enough, they started manufacturing the PS4, as I learned today, in September of that year. So this is an even earlier head start. So I'm wondering if this, you know, the limited availability is not really so much because of what's going on in the world, but more about the components that are there, you know, if they're rare or whatever. So Chris, you could, you know, tell me about that.
When I saw this, I I thought there's maybe a couple of factors involved starting early. Either the manufacturing capacity they have is smaller, so they had to start earlier to even have a decent amount of units to go out by the holidays. So they said 5 to 6 million. So I was like, all right, if they start in June and you're putting out like a million a month, you might get get about that number. But it's possible that the fabs they had for PS4 were more robust. So I'm thinking that Chinese manufacturing hasn't gotten nearly back to where it was. So even if they set up the fabs and start rolling everything out, there's still a shortage of labor and like you said, probably components, labor and space to create it. So they're creating a limited number. And I don't know what the future holds for that. I don't know if Sony will look to put fabs elsewhere or if they'll wait for China's manufacturing to ramp up and maybe that it'll improve. But I don't know. For the foreseeable future, I guess everything's going to be limited. I mean, look, right now things are affected. People say they can't find a Switch, and you go on eBay and they're everybody's price gouging them because the manufacturing is shut down. Right?
Torrance sold his Switch.
Yeah, he sold his for like $500 something, right? Like it was,
and
for
people
a lot.
buy it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and that's for a system that's been manufactured for 3 years.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, with new fabs, it's even harder to get to ramp up manufacturing. So I can understand the delays. I don't think it's so much components, even though that SSD is proprietary and stuff. That could be a factor, but everything else in it should be pretty well laid out and planned. So the fact they're starting 3 months before when PS4 started tells me that they just don't have the manufacturing capacity to put out the numbers they want for the launch.
Yeah.
Now, what can you do?
Yeah, it says that, you know, the company Sony told its assembly partners it would make 5 to 6 million units of the PS5 in the fiscal year ending in March 2021. You know, and the PS4 sold at the same time frame, which is November to March, 7.5 million. So it would be like potentially 2 to 1.5 million lower. So it's not too much, but it's still a significant amount, regardless. You know. And then the other component here is that, you know, the actual price point. They say for Sony to break even, it'll have to sell the console for $500 or $549. You know, which is, I don't know about that, man.
And I bet it's barely. I mean, if it is at a you know, at a good price, it'll barely go above. You know, it'll barely make any money. Because the tech in that PS5 is so advanced. Like Chris mentioned, the SSD is something that like we don't even have yet. You know, it's new technology, so this is not gonna make Sony a lot of money as far as the hardware in the first couple of years.
Yeah, this is for the early adopters, I could see. And here's one thing I do want to address. I hope this isn't deviating too much from the conversation, but it's still within it. I was having a conversation with one of our followers, and he was saying that he believes Sony is making a huge mistake because look what happened with the PlayStation 5 price and all that, with PlayStation 3 price. And if you guys remember from a bunch of episodes, I said that would be a mistake because look what's happened to consoles that have cost $500 in the past. We didn't have a fucking pandemic in the past, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what does the pandemic have to do with the price of the console?
You know, this is the point I'm trying to make. It's like, with that in place, it's going to drive up sales because your manufacturing can't go up or anything. It's going to drive up the price and all that shit. And, you know, people aren't going to have as much money and shit. So it's going to be harder for that system to sell. So, yeah, I don't know. So that's to answer your question. But I think the pandemic, just because of the fact they can't manufacture as much, kind of affects the price. Maybe they have to jack up the price to make their money and shit.
I mean that answer just we don't have to get into it, but it poses several really interesting questions on. So the psyche of the gamer is that they hear a number above 500 and they are absolutely not, no way. And then if you find a way to justify it to them, they say, okay, well, that sounds reasonable.
But that's the thing. It's not about reasonable because people are not happy with the price regardless, despite what's going on. But the point I was trying to say that what's happening now in 2020 is very different than what was happening in 2006. Like, what was happening in 2019 was that it's different. It's weird. It's like how the
no.
What
I'm saying is though the line we had said, the line that was in the sand of like, people just won't pay over 500 because it sounds like too much money. It feels like too much money. That was not. We missed the mark on that because if you can justify paying more because of world event, it really doesn't have anything to do with hearing that number. I'm just saying, like it belies the motivation behind these purchases a little bit more, and it's interesting on the things that it reveals if people are willing to suddenly, and it would be the right thing to do. I want to stress this, to be like, yeah, we're in a pandemic. I understand this stuff happens, to be reasonable, but that's not necessarily what our predictions would have stated. So I just find that interesting.
And
yeah, no, I agree with you, Brett. But I think this whole pandemic and everything that's happening, we have to factor that in. Like all the metrics I was using before may not work anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like we're in a new, different world right now, man. We really are.
And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, okay, so, and I hate to bring this up because I know everybody's looking for an escape, but let's be real for a minute. Like, I kind of feel like the world has changed. We're not. I don't think we're going back. No, we're never getting back to 2016. I mean, just even the amount that we've seen of like the regrowth of planet and like regrowth of ozone emissions and loss of pollution just by this has really shown a lot of people how the way the world works. And I think we're going to work differently from here. And that could go in a number of different ways. But my point is there is no going back. This is a different world that we're living in.
Yeah. I liken it. Just real quick, Brett, and please remember your point because I'm not trying to cut you off. I liken it to 9/11. There was the world before 9/11 and the world after 9/11. There's the world before C virus and the world after C virus. That's just a fact. It's a different game now, man. Continue, bro.
So, how does that play into Microsoft versus Sony's business strategy? Specifically, Microsoft going as a full digital as a service platform. Is the post C virus world more friendly to Microsoft's approach?
Good question.
Is Sony's approach archaic and we're showing the faults in it? Are we seeing the problems with relying on physical distribution for games, a la Last of Us 2? Like, there's exposing so many cracks in the way that we do things in the video game industry that I'm guessing we're going to probably try and make steps to, at least the customer is going to make steps to not have to do this again. There are people like, I don't want to rely on physical games anymore. I'm getting through them through Amazon, and it's pissing me off because Amazon shut down. I want digital games. And I want the ability to share digital games with my friends because I buy physical games so that I can let my friends borrow them. I goddamn demand that you start giving me that in digital form like that. And the first company to do that is going to do very well for itself. And so I guess distilling all this down, I'm really interested to hear your guys' theories on how does this new world affect gaming, the way that we go forward, and the business strategies that each company is currently employing. Are they going to have to change them?
Yeah, I mean, we've been asked that question before, but it was still early, when this was going on. Now we're in the middle of it. May still be a little bit harder, but I think we could all agree things are going to have to change. And you're right. If we're living in a world where, because even when things taper off or whatever, right, I still predict people are going to be hesitant to go out as much. That fear is still going to be there. So if you want a video game and a system's offering to you digitally, granted, Sony's going to have digital games too. That digital sounds more appealing and safer. Let's just be honest, and safer, And
it's not. Well, it's not just safety. Like, think about it this way. Like, it is the reliability. It's, dude, I go through Amazon. It's a lot of people. People on this panel stopped buying their games through Amazon because they got sick of them being 5 days late. They got sick of the service being unreliable. They ditched physical because it was presenting huge inconveniences that digital doesn't have. In a post-C world, do you really want to rely on a system that could break down, that you've seen break down, or would you really rather just rely on the fully digital thing that saved you in a pinch?
Yeah, but again, just to be fair, both systems are going to offer all their games digitally. It's not like Sony's
No, I'm not saying
games.
that they won't. I'm saying that, like, I think we'll see. Personally, okay, I like to lead the horse to water, but personally, my opinion, I know nobody asked, is I think we're going to see a more digital world. Yo,
what's your opinion?
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I think we're going to see a more digital world, man. I think we're going to see people realize that as much as physical games are fucking great, that it is a pain in the ass, and any number of things can happen that can cause us to go down. Like, you could even say, like, is this going to be the only time this happens, or is this going to be a thing that happens as we become a more globalized society? Are we going to end up having to be shut in for weeks or months at a time? How not only is how society is going to react to this, but how am I going to react to this? Well, the way I'm going to react to this is make sure my internet connection stays fine and have most of my games on digital. Really exploit the PlayStation's ability to set a master system and then a secondary system, so that every game on everybody's, all my games on are always available in the living room. Everything that I buy, but I can play any game that I buy personally on my personal PlayStation as well. So Morgan can come into the living room. He can play Final Fantasy on my account, on his account, while I'm still playing Final Fantasy on my account downstairs. So, like, you can even set systems up with your friends to be like a slave system or a master system. I don't know what the fuck they call it anymore.
It kind of sounds like Microsoft's in-home sharing.
Well, then that's what I'm saying. Like, I think this has really prompted a lot of people to, like, it's not a great system. It's not an awesome system. It's kind of a fucking broken and janky system. But a lot of people, myself included, have kind of been like, okay, I know everybody's in quarantine. Everybody's buying fucking a video game right now. Why should we all buy 4 video games? We could all buy 1 video game and then swap. People are figuring that out. Even though it's not working, they're figuring out ways to kind of make it work and make it work around. And I feel like that's going to make them go, you know what? This is something we fucking need. Why don't we have this?
You know, the one thing that, at least, Microsoft's situation, their whole digital ecosystem is not really locked to that new console. Now, that's also a big question for them. What if people just decide not to buy the new console? Because they don't officially need to. You can play Xbox games on everything, right? You can play it on on their old console, on the Xbox One as well as the PC. And then you get a little bit of a boost on your Xbox, Series X. But what will people even want to bother buying the Series X console when they can literally get those same games on a PC or on their current Xbox? Nowhere did Microsoft ever say that they were going to be locking down any of the games to their specific generation of consoles. It's all going to work.
But Manny, doesn't that feel like everything the Steambox promised without actually just calling it a Steambox?
It's exactly it. I mean, the thing is that the Steambox, Steambox was like, promising the idea, like, you can have your games pretty much anywhere. You can have them in your living room, on your PC, it doesn't matter. And it's kind of what Microsoft seems to be doing with their services. So I almost feel like for them, it's like, it's great to have, they're going to have a new fancy, a shiny new console, but at the same time, if you're offering it for the old ones, why would anybody see the need to upgrade to the new one if there can't really, if there's only maybe a little bit of maybe a small, there probably is a big difference, but is it worth that amount of money to spend on a new console just to make your game look more shiny?
I think I have a tinfoil hat theory on that, actually. I think, so Microsoft, I hate to say this, our Xbox fans are going to love this, so Microsoft tried to show us the future. We were not ready to hear it. And the way, partially is the way they fucking presented it. You could not have presented a good message in a worse way.
They did not sell it to us the right way. I mean,
no.
Granted, folks like Adam, he's like, yeah, that's the future, because he always loved Microsoft. That's his babies right there, But like for the rest of us, it's like, huh?
Right? Yeah.
Especially when they're talking about like, licenses and stuff like that. You can have more than one license in your house, stuff like that.
Yeah, it was not sold well. So
well,
go
real
ahead.
quick. Well, part of it also, I mean, they talked about the family sharing plan, but they also talked about the, like people are talking about the DRM because they wanted to make the console not play for like more than 24 hours or 1 week or something without internet connection.
The console had to call home.
Poor decisions were made.
Well,
that's what they used to do with games with Windows, and people used to get real pissed about that. Back in the old days when they were selling games, Microsoft was selling games. They did shit like that. They put all kinds of like stuff that calls home, make sure everything is, and then it kept fucking things up.
Yeah,
it killed the computer game industry. Yeah. Like it wrecked it. But real quick, before I forget it, I kind of feel like Microsoft is basically saying, in more words, hey dummies, the future isn't in consoles, but because you're retarded and stubborn, I'm going to have to go ahead and wean you off of those and show you why it's a service. Like this feels like, I don't think Microsoft, and I haven't been on this right now, I don't think Microsoft's going to release a console after this. I think this is just them baby stepping us into a service.
I could agree with that.
Wait a minute, I called that.
Yeah.
No, you called that. I didn't agree with it. I'm agreeing with it now. I'm saying I've changed my mind to side with you. Don't get angry at me.
And don't steal my tinfoil hat either. That's my thing.
That's his tinfoil hat, Brett.
The thing about it is like that is where Microsoft's strength is. It's software. It's not fucking hardware. I mean, granted, the new Xbox is very advanced, right? But at the same time, they just threw brute force at it. They didn't think of anything special for it. They're just like, okay, we're gonna make this new one the most powerful thing we could possibly make.
Yeah. The other thing,
they're not trying to not with their console. They're not officially trying to reinvent the wheel, but maybe they don't need to.
It's going to be interesting. One thing, because of all this happening, the report also says that, to offset, sales or whatever, or to make up for it, that Sony plans to lower the price of the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. Right now, the PS4, the article says $300, but it's really $250, and the Pro, the article says $400, but it's really $350. So they're probably going to lower the price of that, which is smart, I would say, because if a lot of people could get the PS5, they could just buy the other system. And here's the thing, and by the way, and here's where, Carlos, I'm going to make that controversial statement.
All right, Tony, don't forget about the controversial statement.
All right. Oh, actually, but before that, Brett, I heard you.
No, just fuck you, Sony. Like, no, okay, seriously, like, come on. Am I the only person who sees this as them saying, we don't have much to go on, so we're going to really leverage on FOMO, let you know that there's a limited selection, let you all just foam at the mouth to get something that you don't even know what the fuck it is, and hey, while we're on it, we're going to be the nice guys and drop the price on our previous system so we can go ahead and clear out the clear house on the shit that we've already manufactured and try and high road it at the same time. Fuck you, Sony.
Well, I find it odd that they told them ahead of time. Nintendo does this without telling anyone anything, and they've played scarcity for 3 generations, and it's worked.
That's right.
Yeah, because they're drumming up scarcity. That's my thing. Like, Nintendo, fine, you ride that wave, you do that. That's been the problem with every fucking console release. But they didn't come out and say, "Oh, numbers are going to be really limited," because that's going to cause people to freak out and just run out and buy it. Which is going to. They're doing this on purpose. It's great marketing.
Well,
it's a brilliant idea.
No,
but
that's why this price point is going to work, at least initially.
Yeah, it's brilliant, but it's evil.
Oh, I agree with you. It's not cool, but it's effective.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, listen, I always say, man, I never begrudge any company trying to make its money.
What, dude? You don't begrudge asshole. I know I'm talking about asshole Sony coming back, but like, this is asshole Sony.
Hey, you got to make your money, man. Listen, I'm not happy about Resident Evil 4 getting remade, but hey, Capcom, they want to make their money. I can't begrudge them that. I'm not happy about it, but that's how it is, man.
No. Making a product and letting people buy it, that's fucking one thing. That's fine. Leveraging a pandemic to draw or to build up fear of scarcity in an effort to build more sales because you haven't shown anything else worthwhile is fucking bullshit.
Hold on, here's the thing. You think they're using that as an excuse then?
I think that I don't think they basically they're like, we don't have anything great to show off or say about PlayStation 5 right now. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to tell people how few of them there are going to be, so everybody gets riled up and wants one, even though we haven't given them much information about it.
Again, remember, Sony hasn't made this official yet, and things are subject to change. You know.
You just
Yeah.
it
was an announcement that was officially made by Sony. So it was in other words, it's not. Is it a rumor?
No, it's not a rumor because it's a report from a bunch of different sources. So,
well, here's the thing. Yeah. I don't think they're saying this to rile anybody up.
Yeah, I
think
so
they're
either.
trying to make the best of a bad situation. They can't make any more systems than this for some reason, either components or manufacturing capacity. There's something, and probably because of pandemic shit, they cannot produce more than that before the end of the fiscal year. So they're like, hey, let's put out that messaging and let's make the most of it. Okay. Because they can't change it. If they don't say anything and people go out and go, hey, I can't find a PS5. What the fuck, Sony? And then they go, wait, we just couldn't make enough, you know?
But see, that's the thing.
Or they do like Nintendo and say, what are you talking about? We made the maximum amount of PlayStation.
Oh, right. They could just lie about it.
They say we're making them as fast as we can. Like, all that's going to happen by them saying they have limited quantity is more demand.
So what do you expect? Do you want them to lie to you, or do you want them to tell the truth? Where are we, Brett? It's like, you either want them to lie to you and say, oh yeah, it's perfectly fine, and we're going to make as many, we're putting them out as usual. And then you go to the store and try to pick it up, and you're like, fuck, I can't pick it up. I guess it's selling really well.
Dude, that's been what every console has been. It's just standard par for the fucking course. If you don't get it,
mostly Nintendo, and you don't think that's kind of jerk offish?
I do think it's kind of jerk offish, but this isn't them covering their ass and trying to tell people so that they don't get mad later. This is them drumming up business. This is a marketing tactic. This isn't a PSA so that for all their loyal fans because they're trying to be good guys. This is a marketing tactic to draw up attention for the PS5 without releasing any information. And I'm mad because it's brilliant and it's working, and I'm sure it will work.
Is it working? People seem to be pretty pissed off about it.
No, people are pissed now, but you'll find an inverse effect when people say what they're going to spend their money on and when they actually spend it. Right? You can't. That's why they say you can never use like a closed test of people agreeing that they're going to buy something, and then when you actually put it in front of them, they don't spend their money. This scarcity is going to cause people to buy it because they want it. And when a lot of gamers realize they can't have this thing, they're going to go out and try to buy it. And then scalpers are going to take advantage of that, and we're going to get an eBay market like you wouldn't believe. You're going to get $1,000 PS5s going up day one.
And then the media cycle will pick up that information, further encouraging the cycle. And everybody will just be gangbusters searching. It's a great way to launch a system without even a good launch game. It's brilliant. It's fan-fucking-tastic in the way that it's going to work. I can see Chris is right. I just see it all playing out right in front of me, and it's going to work. And it's just I'm mad because that shouldn't work. Like I'm mad that it and again like I want to be on Sony's side here. But just looking at the facts the way that I'm looking at them, like, okay, so you have one system that's coming out, trying to come out with games, listen to its customers, showing you the system, giving you information on the system, and another one who keeps dragging its feet and then leverages a fucking pandemic to try and push scarcity instead of actually getting people hyped up for it. People are scared they're going to miss out. They're not excited for this. It's the evil way to do it. You could have gone Jedi, but you went Sith. Why, Sony? Why?
Yo, by the way, Goose says that you're sounding like Alex Jones right now.
Oh shit! What?
So, Brett, I mean, it's obviously for me. It can be a possibility if they could leverage this, but in all reality, I have no fucking clue. And if there was ever going to be a year where artificial scarcity for a new console would have happened, it would out of all the fucking years in my lifetime, this is the year where we would have a shortage of consoles.
Yeah, this
I agree. And I don't even think this is a big malicious thing. It's just some asshole at Sony went, you know what? We could probably turn this to our somebody in PR went, if we announce it now, it'll probably just build up scarcity.
Remember, this isn't official yet. They should just report. Sony hasn't made a statement yet.
Okay,
man.
but Tony, here's the thing about it. That's how PR works.
No, I know what you're getting.
They give small amounts of. If you're seeing this coming from multiple sources, somebody has told them this shit.
Yeah, this happens in Hollywood all the time.
Oh yeah, no,
what they do, they won't put out an
yeah.
official thing from the studio.
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm just saying, we can't say Sony is 100% doing this. Just throwing that out, just to be fair. We gotta be fair here.
Just 90%. It looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck and so it may be a goose. We don't know.
Listen, I can't begrudge them because they're in a bad situation. They're making the best of it, even though it seems like, wow, this is evil. There's only 3 ways they could handle this. A, they don't say anything, launch the system, people start stabbing each other walking out of GameStop to get one because they can't find the shit. It makes the news anyway, and then Sony puts out like, oh well, we're shipping as many as we can. They do like Manny said, they do the Reggie way. You just bullshit everyone until you can ramp up production to a point, right? B, do what they did just now, right? Have somebody talk to Bloomberg. Bloomberg prints out an article. They'll put out a nice fluffy statement later, and you tell everybody ahead of time to get the messaging out, which works to their advantage. But either way, they're in a rock and a hard place because they'll either get called out if they don't say anything and lie after the system launches, or they get called out now.
There's so many different ways to present this. Like, for instance, due to the current national worldwide crisis, we may run into production restrictions. However, we are committed to produce as many systems as possible to service our community and our customers.
No, but you didn't. But they are going to put out that message. That's what you don't understand. They put out the news to Bloomberg, but then Sony themselves will say exactly what you just said.
Yeah, you're giving essentially this is information that they heard from that a bunch of people heard from behind the scenes that they're releasing this information.
Right.
Sony still has yet to make that official PR statement. So in other words, it's people jumping the gun before it actually comes from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing: multiple people don't report that same thing at the same time.
Yeah, that just doesn't. There's plenty of situations like that where you hear like industry guys saying, "Hey, yeah, we hear whispers that that Sony's going to be doing this." So, I mean,
yeah, this sounds like internal email and Sony leaning over and going like, "Hey, by the way, we're not going to make an official statement. But I'm going to let you guys know."
Well, they can do that, and they may have done that to. And they look better in the end because if they put out the fluffy statement you just said, that's exactly what I said they're going to do. Afterwards, they look better for it. So Bloomberg will look like the bad guy. They look like, oh, the media is not being fair to us. Here's what we really care about you guys. And they put out the BS statement, right? And they look good.
I know, and I know it's going to work, but Chris, none of this is happenstance. I know none of this is happenstance.
No, I absolutely think somebody emailed somebody at Bloomberg, and then Bloomberg put it out, and then other papers and other news outlets start picking it up. Then YouTubers start picking it up. Everybody starts talking, oh shit, Sony's all going to put out this many systems, whatever. That catches fire, but as soon as they catch fire, then Sony comes in with the fire hose, right? Don't worry about it,
or they could just do the same, or the thing that they were doing about a certain backward compatibility.
Hey, listen, we don't know about the remastering engine.
Where they actually don't actually comment on anything even remotely sounding close to what it says. Yeah. In other words, just letting the rumor just float around.
Oh yeah, man.
They could do that. I mean, yeah, no, I realize it's making it from their point of view. It's the best of a bad situation, and it makes the most money. Am I the only one that's just like a little bit like, oh, man, fuck you? Like, don't you do that? Don't you throw out scarcity because that's gonna just freak people out. You don't need to use that word. You just don't use that word.
Hey,
just say in the fluffy piece.
I can't fault them. It's like they're trying to make the best of a bad situation, and also they're out there to make money. Yeah, they might create a bad situation, but in the end, it's going to work out for them. Right?
It feels ruthless though, and that's the thing.
But it is like it absolutely. I can't argue with that. Like I said, I'm not against anything you said, right? But also, Sony is trying to make a profit off this.
Yeah,
so I absolutely understand
why
they're doing it, right?
I mean, the one thing I'm interested in is like, again, like Microsoft hasn't said anything about what they've been doing.
Well, I mean, they've been saying a lot of things, but they haven't said price point.
They haven't said anything about listen, we said this before. there is going to even if you're saying it or not, the C virus shit is going to affect all the technology.
Of course,
it's not like just turning on a fucking light switch and like, oh yes, we have 1 million consoles here. No, it's not.
No, absolutely. Everybody's going to experience a shortage, but I don't think Microsoft's broadcasting that. And if they do, it's just going to be more one of those like, look, we're trying to get these things out to you as fast as possible, people.
Well, I mean, we also don't have people, squealing about the inner goings-ons of Microsoft.
Yeah,
Sony's always had that issue.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah.
Good God, yeah, it's just, I just do not like this approach, man. Each time this shit happens, I walk over a chalkboard and I put up a line, and when I get to a certain number of fucking tick marks, I'm buying a goddamn Xbox.
Tony, I think it's time for your controversial statement.
Is it? Because there's a couple of things I had to say. I'm teasing you motherfuckers now.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, so what's the other thing? Oh yeah, so they also said that because of the C virus, that's the reason that the C virus has kind of put a damper on their, promotional and all the shit. Here's the thing: I could understand that after February, right? Like it's hurt your promotion of it, sure. But we didn't hear any promotion of this shit before February. We've been giving Sony shit about this since January. Like, yo, Sony, what the fuck is this news?
Their promotion?
No, because remember, let me finish. Remember, they were gonna be at PAX, right? They were gonna have a show. They were gonna do something during the summer. None of that's happening now.
GDC.
Okay, so yeah, no, I get that, but to Sony's marketing department, it's like, so let me get this straight. You have a whole bunch of people quarantined and stuck at home with nothing to do and a captive audience. Like, market to them. Put on TV commercials. Fucking Christ, man.
Yeah,
release Last of Us 2.
Yeah, right. No, you put a demo out of The Last of Us 2. Listen, I think I said this on our show. They had a demo for Last of Us 2 ready for PAX. Why not release that to the public? I'm just saying. Anyway, Brad, go on.
I mean, no, that's just basically where I'm at. Like, there are things that you could do that you're just doing them the wrong way. I just don't understand. And I get the only way that it makes sense to me, and the reason I guess why it doesn't make sense is the only way all this adds up is if Sony has just gotten to the point where they're like, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about you. They've gone back to being the old ruthless Sony who doesn't care about their gamers. And I've read these tea leaves before. I've been there, and I've been preaching about how I'm afraid that Sony's getting on their high horse and turning into old Sony again. And man, it's just happening. There's so many ways things that they could do, not just to appease gamers. I'm gonna get on my high horse for a minute here. Like, we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic, right? Like, releasing entertainment for people to stay quarantined is a public fucking service. All right. Doom released early because they're good guys. Because I'm sure that fucked up their physical release a little bit. I'm sure they caught a little bit of flack, but in the end, people were happier. What you're doing, and I realize that this is striving to the nth degree, but what you're doing by holding content back is essentially encouraging people to break quarantine, which is recklessly dangerous. You are choosing money over human lives, and I realize that's a lot of fucking steps to get there, but
yeah, I was about to say, bro, like,
dude, you could, but like, here's the thing, it's not. You could be good guy Sony. We've seen good guy Bethesda. We've heard people bitching at Nintendo. Why didn't you release Animal Crossing a few days early? Like, this is what people want, and there are some companies willing to do it. And if we're talking long term, like delaying The Last of Us 2 because you're not going to be able to sell as many physical copies and you might piss off Walmart. Okay, like, you're just choosing money over people in a time where people really need. The only time that I can actually think of where people genuinely, actually, absolutely need the product and the services that you're offering, and you're holding them back because you can find a way to make more money off of it. That just seems soulless. And am I the only person that feels like a company should at least pretend like they care about people these days? Or is just everybody just giving up? It's all about the almighty dollar.
I mean, companies are all about the dollar, bro. You know that.
Yeah, it's silly to think that they even cared about us in the first place.
They never did. No company does. Let's just be real here. No company does.
No, and I know, and it's funny because I just was preaching that this last week, but like, I've seen, again, like, okay, maybe it's just Bethesda. Maybe I just need to come out and say, fucking good for you, Bethesda. I'm putting you up there with CD Projekt Red in terms of love for your fans. You've got a lot of hate lately, but you just released one of the most fucking anticipated games, and you released it early and fucked up your supply schedule and pissed off the big live retailers because you chose the fans over money in a time when it was important. I realize
it too.
Yeah,
okay.
Square did it too.
And see, that's what I'm saying. It's more than one company. People are recognizing this. Companies are recognizing this, and the ones who obviously aren't. It's not that they don't recognize it; it's that they don't care. And so I'm going to go ahead and give it an extra love to Square Enix. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit extra love to Bethesda. Like, those score major brownie points in my book. Major ones. Why can't Sony be good guy Sony? What, you tell me what the problem with being good guy Sony in this situation is.
I think you're preaching to the choir as far as the whole Last of Us.
Yeah, with The Last of Us, yeah, we're all agreed on that one. That's fucked up. It's like, yo, release this shit digitally, release it physically later, you know?
So why is Sony just getting a pass on all these asshole moves?
Wait, what? Here's the thing,
Are they getting a pass?
Hold on. Which asshole moves, man? Like, with the console, like, again, you think those are asshole moves. I don't see those as asshole moves. I'm like, okay, this is what they got to do, you know? Like with the console and stuff.
Definitely delaying The Last of Us 2.
No, we all agree on that. We all agree on that shit. We're talking about the console right now. We're talking about the console right now, you know?
And the fans also agree on that too. It's not like...
Okay, dropping information to journalists that there's going to be a scarcity problem for the PS5 in order to drive up sales. That's an asshole move.
Again, even though that's probably what it is, we can't just assume that they're doing that. You know
why?
Because we don't know for sure. That's why.
How
man.
the fuck would they know?
A statement like that, man.
How? You think somebody deep in Sony's works like came out and told 3 different news organizations this secret little rumor? Like, this isn't the way that rumors usually work. It's too well organized.
This is a rumor. It's a report. It's a report. It's a little bit more official than that. And basically, the way this works is like how all reports. Basically, reporter knows somebody at Sony that leaks something out there. You know, granted, that could be manufactured. I'm not saying it isn't, Brett. I'm just saying you can't just definitively say that. I don't think that's fair. You know, or that's not really responsible to just say that. You know, we don't know for sure. You could be right. I'm not saying you're not. You cannot be right, but we also have to take into consideration the fact that maybe it's just like a guy just decided, hey, I'm just going to tell this reporter this shit, and that's nothing to do with Sony's grand plan. You know,
man, I don't believe in coincidence, bro.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just saying there's another side too. That's all I'm saying. You know.
No, we can't definitively prove it. Nobody can.
Yeah. That's all I'm trying to get out there, you know.
But regardless, I mean, if you guys I'm talking to everyone here and in the chat. Like, if you guys want a PS5, pre-order that shit day one. Yeah, I don't think
that's going to lead to the next thing. This is for the guys in the chat and the panels here. If the console costs $500 to $550 and you have to pre-order it in order to secure one, are you going to do it?
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
Carlos said yeah.
Hell no.
No, I'll wait.
All right, Brian, let's settle down, man. You weren't gonna get it.
I've never been the type of person to buy a console day one, date. Never.
Yeah, Goose says day
one. It's always been like a year, maybe even 2 years off until the things that I want to see appear on the console, and that's it's always been. I don't need to have the shiny new console like everybody. Like I feel like everybody, who bought the PlayStation 4 initially, out of the gate. I know since some of us obviously are in the industry and need to use it, have it. But I think a lot of people kind of jumped the gun, especially what was offered at launch for that console.
I 100% agree. But normally, Manny, I'm the opposite of you. Can I make a controversial statement?
Yes, because I'm about to make them. I'm making this after yours, bro. Go ahead.
Okay. Judging by the actions that I've seen by Sony as a company, I'm very concerned. And I think this is the cherry on top that, no, if there's going to be scarcity, I'm not going to pre-order a console because I'm not going to rise to that bait. However, I'm probably going to pre-order an Xbox.
If Pip Pop Gamer was here, he would say, "Shots fired!
Shots fired!"
Dude, I'm just and again, I'm a Merc consumer, no loyalty. But as I'm staring down the barrel, it's like, So basically, one company is trying to entice me, and the other one's trying to say, "You may miss out if you don't jump now." Fuck you. That's my reaction to everybody who gives me that. I'm like, if you give me an ultimatum, I choose not you, because don't put me in that position that I have to take an ultimatum. Don't put me in that position where now I have to battle against 4 million other fucking people who are foaming at the mouth, freaking out, standing at Best Buy before they fucking open. You manufactured this. You made it harder for me to get a console. So no, I'm not going to give you my money.
I think
Goose called you a hippie.
I'm
an old punk rock kid, which is just a really angry hippie.
I think the one thing about it is it's like, and I think this is the biggest issue that you have with it, Brett, is that Sony has kind of lost their sort of face. Like, in other words, there's no people sort of connected to it. It's just kind of voices from the world of beyond. Whereas at Microsoft, you can actually point to the folks, and you constantly see them talking about it. It's kind of like the way Microsoft used to act back in the days in the Xbox, the original Xbox era, when they were trying to get on the good graces of people and just be out on the streets and constantly tell people things. You know, hearing something from the head of the Xbox division as opposed to hearing from a bunch of faceless ghosts. You know.
But I think
it's like right, Mark Cerny is a point man, but he is also sort of I would just say he's kind of, it almost seems like he's a little
boring.
He's a little he's a tech guy, and he's also seems a little bit disconnected from people. You know what I mean?
He's not a good PR person.
He's not a good PR person. He's not a good PR person, and he is also I think he's good at the tech side of things, but I don't think he's good at like looking like he's one of your buddies. And I feel like, I hate to say this, that's what a lot of the old Sony guys were, you know, especially when, you know, Gio was there and Andrew House and all the other guys. Those guys sort of made themselves more available, even like with the PlayStation, you know, experience. They sort of made themselves like, okay, we're the guys that make this thing happen. But now all those guys, those faces are gone. So now what are you left with? You're left with fucking that supercomputer from fucking Tron.
Oh, shit.
Right?
And Jim Ryan, he's not exactly a people person, you know.
What the fuck was the name of that thing again?
What, the master computer?
Yeah, the master computer. That's what it seems like. It just seems like it's like, we've created the numbers. You will do this, you know.
Man,
we will have scarcity.
Yeah, you know, you're right about that, Goose. We had Adam Boyce, we had Jack Trenton, you know.
Yeah, we had all those.
Shuei's still there.
Kevin Butler, man.
Settle down with a Phil Harrison, man.
Yeah, Phil Harrison. No,
not Phil Harrison.
Not Phil Harrison.
Right,
Phil Harrison was also one of those sorts of people that are sort of disconnected from people.
Yeah.
See, Manny gets it. It's the whole, and I said,
I know what you feel. I know what you're feeling, man, because it's like it's lost its sort of humanity. And now it just seems like the great decider kind of, you know, slamming its fist down and saying, okay, this is the way things are going. As opposed to being like, hey, listen, we're so sorry about this. And, you know, actually having somebody like boys show up and say, hey, you know, we understand that this is a disappointment to you and all that stuff, but they're all very sort of separated from the audience. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I think that's what sort of Microsoft right now is sort of trying to recapture. That, you know, I think the one thing though, I think for Japanese audiences, I don't think they mind things being impersonal, but I do think that for Western audiences, having that humanity attached to it helps a product.
I would agree. Damn soapbox, man. It's you don't have to necessarily care in the sense that like, oh, little Billy broke his arm today, but care in the sense that there are people out there who agree with and who appreciate what you're doing, that you have fans. Like, Manny, I'm sure you appreciate your fans. It's not like you want them all to call you with their personal problems, but you appreciate them being a fan.
Yeah, I appreciate all. Like, one of the reasons why I like going to conventions and things like that is to get out there and meet the people that are enjoying the things that I create. And I don't even mind if they don't buy anything. I'll chat them up regardless, because I'm there obviously I want to make a little bit of money, but for the most part, I want to meet these people. I want, even if, just shake hands, talk to people for a little bit, geek out about stupid stuff, putting a human face on that digital persona, And I feel like that's the one thing that I feel Sony has sort of lost when they let go of all those people from the PlayStation 4 era and before that.
Oh, yeah, no, they definitely lost that. All right, so we got everybody in here except Carlos, who said yes.
Wait, what happened?
About buying PlayStation 5 Days One. By the way, Carlos, did you notice that everybody, including me?
Oh, what? Excuse me?
Yeah.
Yo.
Oh, that's the contract.
Oh, listen.
Whoa. Tony, you're not interested in getting the PS5 day one? Is that what I just heard?
Yes, that's the controversial statement I've been withholding for you guys. Based on everything that I've seen here, $550 for a console, games that I can play on my PS4, and remembering what happened with 2013 with the launch of PS4, why the fuck am I going to, and then potentially waiting months and shit for this shit to come pre-order, why the fuck would I put myself through that shit? Or when I could just wait a year for the system price to drop by $100, and when it's readily available, and then buy it then. I don't need a PS5 for my fucking job. I could play those PS4 games on my, those. Let's just be honest. Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, any fucking exclusive that's coming for Sony, it's going to be on both platforms. There, people are going to say, "Oh, you need to buy the new system for exclusives." What exclusives? There's not going to be any exclusives on this shit. Not for the first year.
No, dude, that'll be the difference. Because here's the deal. This is not a vacuum, right? Like, I'm not judging these things independently of each other. I judge Sony against what Microsoft is doing, and man, you hit the nail so hard on the head. It's the humanity they're showing. It reminds me of the Xbox, the first Xbox generation. Sony's acting the same way, Microsoft's acting the same way. God damn it, I lost my.
Yeah. By the way,
the original Xbox
me,
was the one that they started pushing a lot of.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. I'll answer this later. Go ahead. Keep going.
Hold on. Let me get this out before I forget it again.
Go.
Do you guys think that all of these studios that Microsoft hired are just sitting on their laurels? No, they're making games. They're not making games for the current Xbox. They're making games for the next Xbox. You read the tea leaves, Microsoft is going to have a bigger launch lineup than Sony does. Sony makes great games, but they make them a few at a time and a long time.
We don't know that. We don't know that. Like, you think
all those... No, we don't know that. I'm making predictions. This is prediction time. Maybe I should have prefaced this, but if you look at how many studios has Microsoft bought, do we even know? It's like 12.
It's like 16 last time I checked.
Okay.
They also bought a bunch of studios that are independent studios that are trying to make smaller AAA sort of games, like Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory said that they're not going to be doing those sorts of games like they did, like Heavenly Sword. They're going to be doing games like Senua's Sacrifice.
Or what about that bullshit game? What about that bullshit game that came out with nobody liked? Bleeding Edge, I think it was.
Yeah, but you look at I'm sure that game didn't take a lot to develop.
Probably didn't. It's just
a lot of money.
No, and I'm not saying
Go ahead, Brett. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not saying that they're all going to be gems, but I'm saying that each studio that Microsoft picked up is going to produce a game. They didn't pick them up so they could have them hang out. They picked them up to produce something. So we know of @ 16 games in production right now, most likely for launch.
I doubt that. I don't doubt.
You doubt that they have 16. You doubt they have 16 games.
I doubt they're gonna all be available at launch. No fucking way.
I don't think they're all going to be available at launch. But dude, they were doing this shit 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Microsoft has been. They've been playing the long game. That's
I understand.
My point.
I'm just saying that those all 16 studios are not going to produce games that are all going to launch. And they're
not. They're not. But if half of them do, that's still a big fucking deal.
It is, but the game's got to be quality. If they're if they are of the quality of Bleeding Edge and that Honey I Shrunk the Kids game,
okay, hold on.
So
8 games that may not be great versus what? PlayStation's none.
Yeah.
For the first year?
Yeah, you're right about that for the PS5 because those games are going to be available on the PS4. And by the way, Goose, no way is Horizon Zero Dawn 2 going to be an exclusive for PS5 unless it's 4 years from now. No fucking way. If that game's going to come out within the next 2 years, it's going to be on PS4. I guarantee you that. 3 or 4 years from now, okay, I could see it being exclusive on PS5. No fucking way in the first 2 years.
And a couple of years after that on PC,
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yep.
Yo, man. So what the fuck are we talking about? Oh yeah, Microsoft. Again, Microsoft has given me absolutely no reason for me to put my faith in them. Those games look janky. I'm sorry, but then again, I'm still gonna have access to them on my PC, so I'm not gonna be missing that. But yeah, I'm again with the PS5. If I'm gonna have all those games to play on my PS4, I don't see the reason for me to buy that shit day one. You know?
Oh, okay, hold on. I gotta call you out. You saying Ninja Theory is gonna make a janky game?
They did. Fucking Bleeding Edge is bullshit. It's fucking trash. Have you seen
I haven't played it. I can't stand on it. They have a really good track record.
They do, Brett. Ninja Theory, before Bleeding Edge, I said they are the perfect studio. They have never released a bad game until Bleeding Edge, man. You know?
Oh, God, really?
Yes.
Jesus, that bad?
Yeah, it's some fucking, what is it? Some Overwatch shit. I'm like, what is this?
It's an Overwatch clone, yeah.
Oh, well, okay. So just because they're chasing that money.
Yeah, and this is another point. This is another reason I don't trust Microsoft. I think a lot of those games, I could be wrong. I'm just throwing it out there. A lot of those games are going to be like multiplayer focused for Fortnite Overwatch type of games and shit. You know, so I'm like, really? Because I understand if just one of those games hits, they're going to make $1 zillion. I get that, but that's not really. I doesn't. Talking about myself right now, that shit doesn't excite me, man. Those fucking multiplayer cartoon looking games, I don't care about that shit. You know?
No, I totally get that. My whole point was, though, that the sheer number of games between the two systems, there's going to be a discrepancy between them. Because Microsoft has been eating its Wheaties. They have given up on this generation 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And started on...
To be fair, though, there's not going to be any Xbox Series X exclusives either, because they're going to be available on the last console, too. So they're kind of in the same spot. Now, granted, they may have more exclusives, Xbox exclusives, but they're not going to have Xbox Series X exclusives. Just like PS5 won't have exclusives either.
They'll be on PC as well. But I think that's one... I'll be honest. The PC crowd, that's just a station. That's not their main...
If you want to buy Halo, Brett, you don't need an Xbox Series X. You can play it on your Xbox that you own right now, the new Halo game. You don't need the new system for that.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
But I get that. So I would guess there will be some new Xbox exclusive only games. Like it'll only play on what the fuck is it called again?
No, they said it.
Scarlet. It's not the Scarlet, but
the fucking no. But Microsoft already said there will not be exclusives. They're going to be on all the platforms, man. They already said it.
So essentially, what you're gonna do is you're gonna if you have the new one, it'll obviously give it a bunch of different boosts and things. You're running on a better thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. Right? Yeah, go ahead, Manny. Go ahead.
But it's it's gonna be there's not gonna be any line. You can play it on your previous generation Xbox. You can play it on your PC. You can play it on your new Xbox.
Okay, let me just get this. Hold on, let me just get this straight. Every console for the next generation is going to pander to its lowest common denominator. So PS5 will release games that the regular PS4 can still play.
No. Just for the first couple of years. No.
I get it. I get it for the first couple of years. For the first couple of years, they're not going to even try to take advantage of the system's actual power. They're just going to put lipstick on a fucking pig for the first 2 years.
No, I disagree. I think they will have exclusives. There might not be a lot. But they will have PS5.
There's going to be, here's the thing, and this is the point I want to make before we go on here. With PS5, you're eventually going to need a PS5 because there will be PS5 exclusives, obviously. But I still maintain for the first couple of years there won't be. But you could literally write out the entire next generation with your regular Xbox One, and you won't miss a single game. That's the difference.
Okay. They're not going to get rid of Game Pass compatibility with the older systems.
Yeah, Yeah, PS5 eventually. By the way, you guys are getting mad at me in the comments saying PS5. Of course, they're gonna have exclusives. They may have 1 or 2 exclusives, but I'm talking about like you think the Last of Us 2 is gonna be exclusive. You think any Sony first party studio is gonna have a big AAA exclusive at launch
for the first.
That's stupid. Why? Because there's 100 million PlayStation 4s out there, guys. Come on.
You're gonna get the equivalent of Knack and Killzone Shadowfall.
Come on, guys. Go ahead, Brett.
Brian, are you here?
Of course I'm here. I'm
okay.
He's in the cut.
Brian, I'm gonna join you in the cut. I'm just going full PC. Fuck this noise.
Damn.
Dude, why the fuck am I gonna sit there and play just shined up, dumbed down ass games when I can go to dude, you play PC games, there are actual innovative games. They do things. You could float through space. You could build towers. You could do all kinds of shit instead of just running through a fucking level, sitting behind a half wall and picking up ammo drops from fucking enemies. I'm so sick of this shit. I've played some actual fucking good games lately, but Jesus fucking Christ, can you stop taking the same fucking... Oh, look, it's an open room with some power-ups and some fucking half walls.
I've been watching a lot of Full Metal Alchemist as of late. I watched it all over again. And, Brett, you just saw the truth.
Yes. I'm just... Well, for example, make a Full Metal game. Make a game where you can transmute fucking matter from something else. You have that shit in PC. You had it years ago. I played Space Engineers. That game was... You float around in space and mine asteroids and then build giant fucking ships that could, click into each other.
And the equivalent exchange is the next console generation.
But it's not going to do any of that shit. That's the problem. It has the power, but it's just going to dumb itself down so that people who bought a console 5 fucking years ago can have the same experience. Again, it's just you just want to dig the money out of their pockets. You're not trying to be innovative. You're not trying to tell a story. You're not trying to do anything. I get that money isn't fucking important, but where did we lose the fact that other things are fucking important, sometimes more than money? Telling a story, making an imprint on the world. Jesus fucking Christ, try and have some sort of artistic integrity instead of bleeding everything for a fucking dollar. Give me the same old shit over and over again. This is on PC, I can buy into an early alpha where they'll actually admit that the game is broken, but it may have some new mechanics that I've never seen before.
And I thought I was down in this generation.
The most innovative game I've played in the last year and a half is fucking Ancestors. And you know what? That's a dumbed down version of fucking Ark.
Damn, Brett didn't just drop the mic. He tied it to a fucking stick of dynamite and shot it into the sky, man.
Brett, man, this is why I like you, man. Your boundless optimism and idealism for shit. It's like, wow, you have ideals, bro. Not me. I'm a cynical motherfucker.
Dude, it happens on PC. Brian will back me up. And there is a world where people test boundaries and come up with new things and then charge you less money for them because they know it's not fixed yet. And they appreciate your patronage, so you jump on early access and you pay less money. So you help develop the game and you pay less money because they know it's broken. Instead, we get released fully fucking broken games at a full goddamn price, and then just say, hey, just hang out 6 months and we'll eventually fix it. Fuck you! Tell me the game's broken. Sell it to me for half off. That's literally how everything on PC works. I'm just giving up on this fucking console bullshit. This is how it happens, Brian. Brian knows it. He's just sitting there. He's like, yep, seen this before.
Oh, man. By the way, quickly, because Goose is yelling at me right now, Matt Booty said that basically for the first 2 years, Xbox is going to be on every single, Xbox platform. But after that, we may get exclusives, right, for the Xbox. But here's the thing. They still won't be exclusives because they'll still be on PC, bruh. So
that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
So
that's actually a good thing. If you can't play your PC games, that just basically, I can't play my PC games on PlayStation. We gotta let go of that thing. I know we're talking console exclusives, but to console gamers, PC gamers honestly, genuinely don't pop up on the radar because there's not enough of them. And for PC gamers, they don't care about what console gamers think because for the most of them, they're common lowbrow, just fucking dirt people. Most console gamers are super casual, whiny bastards. I'm gonna be fucking honest.
Oh
here.
shit!
Damn,
You guys got me on a night. Oh come on! Like console gamers are the most entitled group of people I have ever fucking seen. At least the PC people, when they stand up for shit, they're trying to stand up for staking their claim and keeping the world the same as they are. Console gamers just want shit. It is just
opinions of Bert Murdoch.
I was saying PC gamers are the biggest fucking. This is going to be a story we're going to talk about later. PC gamers are the biggest fucking beggars out there. What are you talking about, man? We're going to get to that in the
beggars. They're defending things that already exist.
Well, we'll get to that later because I'm like word because a lot of PC guys were very happy about the potential of PlayStation 4 games coming, and they're happy with their fucking system. Come on, man.
Yeah, they're happy with their system on their computer.
Yo, Tony, and you thought you were the only one gonna drop a Mega 10 today.
That's on fire, son. Oh man.
I mean, I guess I'm gonna be the only one with a PS5.
Yeah, you are, man.
For the foreseeable future.
Right? Here's where things get interesting. Like as I said, like you guys are buying your PS5s for different reasons than I'm buying them. Like I'm buying them because why would I do that? I never sell on consoles. No point. I'm buying a PS5 because I want to play my PS4 games at good frame rates. So if the PS5 can do that, and I don't have to pre-order and a decent price, I may pick it up.
Well, that's kind of the reason I wanted to. I don't have a PS4 Pro. My games load like shit.
Same.
My PS4 sounds like it's gonna go into orbit when I play a game. So I'm ready for that. That's why I want to enjoy my library right now on it. But if they're gonna pull some shit, like I gotta wait.
No load times, fellas. No load times. So they say.
It's just the idea of like, hey, like I can play my PS4 games without frame rate problems. Like I'll happily take that. Or I can play my PS4 games at like 60 frames. Like I will gladly take that because again, most of the games now they're all just 30 frames, and it's like it's really jarring. Like I come from used to playing like ultra wide 100 frames per second games to 30 frames per second. It's like, come on, like I can't be doing that. Like this is 2020 now.
Yo, this like we started this conversation that there's this line in the sand. Not a line in the sand. There's like a point before 2020 and a point after. And the point after is the one where Tony is not getting a PlayStation console, but Brian is.
Yeah. No, by the way, but just to clear, that PS5 is getting bought. Don't get me wrong about that. This is still PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? Got to buy Sony. But $500 on launch day where I could play the games on my regular PS4? Fuck that shit. I'll wait. I'm not missing nothing.
Yeah,
it's not going to go down on price anytime soon, though.
Oh, by the way, and I could, everybody in here is going to buy a PlayStation 5. Let's just be real here.
Eventually.
Yeah,
eventually. But I mean, given with the financial situation with a lot of people right now and stuff like that. I mean, granted, I know it's in the future, but like, yeah, it's gonna.
That's the other thing I want to say. Like,
it's gonna hit. It's gonna hit home. That's a
good question, actually. Yes, to piggyback off what Manny said, do you think that the C-virus issue is going to affect PS5 sales to the point where it won't sell as much in the long run?
Because people have like other shit to fucking.
I don't know about the long run, Brian, but in the short term, I believe it could. I think it will actually. Console sales in general, yeah.
Because PlayStation does best in the US, and as we're seeing right now, the US is. I don't know what's going on with the unemployment rate there, but it's just jaw dropping sometimes. So, do you think that that's going to have it is going to have an effect? But do you think that's going to have a noticeable effect?
In the short term, it definitely will. I think a lot of shit is not going to get bought. You know what I'm saying? Because some people may not even have jobs, bro. Let's just be real. I don't even know if I'm going to have a fucking job. Like things are serious right now.
Especially with the way a lot of companies are kind of trimming the fat right now.
Yeah. So we got to, So I think this year, I think it's going to be effective for sure. In the long run, when things go back to whatever the new normal is going to be, let's just be real. It's not going to be normal. It's going to be the new normal. Things will pick up and stuff, especially if Sony has games. But in this year, nah, man. I think the 6 million. I think that's probably about all they're going to sell. And Brian, now you can make me think about it. Do you think they're only manufacturing that many because they know they're not going to sell that much because of all this bullshit? It's a good question.
All right, don't give Brian too much credit.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting. All right.
I don't think like if they're gonna make a limited amount of quantity, like as compared to other years, I think they'll sell out.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people. I mean, there's plenty of like this is the world that we live in. There's plenty of people that are hurting, but there's plenty of other people that are doing just fine.
Yeah.
So that's how it is, man.
It's crazy shit, man. This goes back to what I was talking about. It's like even if we try to avoid the Rona, we can't avoid the Rona here. It's just a fact of life now.
Yeah.
You know. By the way, I learned that we could actually say coronavirus now without getting flagged on YouTube. They finally allowed it. You know.
Oh, really?
Shit. Yeah. So now you can say it without getting demonetized and shit. But since we're gaming here, you know, C virus and shit.
So,
it was stupid
real
to begin
quick,
with. Yeah.
Before we move on,
yes.
I don't know if you were gonna move on. So you're definitely not gonna get it, Tony.
If it's 550, no. 500, I'll have to consider it. 550, fuck no. No way. Nuh-uh. No way. You know, that is.
I don't think it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be 550. It's either gonna be 500 or 600.
500. I have to see. I'll have to. I need to see a little bit more. You know.
And it also sort of, I'm sure, just like me, you know, and a lot of us in here, it probably depends on what your financial situation
is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, again, like, there's so many things that, like, you know, some things that that are closed. You know, there's bills that need to be paid. I know that a lot of companies are like, hey, we're going to give you a little bit of time, blah blah blah. But you know, and not to mention taxes. By the way, that still needs to be filed.
Yeah, I already said that. It's like whatever stimulus money I'm going to get, I'm giving it right back to the government because I got to pay my taxes for this year. You know. Oh man, this shit is crazy. Again, yeah, we'll have to see what my obviously, if I'm doing really, really fucking well, I'm buying that shit day one. But if shit is as it is now, I have to seriously just hold back, man, because this shit is crazy. You know. All right, man. Anything else you guys want to say about the PS5 and all that other stuff?
I think. I mean, I think it'll release with at least one exclusive at launch.
Godfall, I believe, is an exclusive. Godfall, is it Godfall, guys? Let me know. That God fucking game, you know.
Yeah, but and it's like you know, Knack was like kind of like a lower end game, but I mean, Killzone Shadowfall, it turned out to be a shit game, but it was a huge game back then.
Well, of course, it was. I had nothing else to buy.
I mean, it was definitely a good demo of what the PlayStation 4 could do. Same with Knack.
Yeah,
but. At that, you know, really, are those games that people really remember for being great games?
They're not.
Well, really? I mean, no, it's not a great game, but it was. I mean, it might have. What did you say? It's a AAA game?
Well,
I mean,
they're
both AAA games, but at the same time, it's like you're not like it's what happens when you get a new console. You get that app that shows off the console. The only difference this time around is that. Because of the time that they have to develop these things, these end up not being as polished as stuff from maybe PlayStation 2 or even some of the 3 era stuff or Xbox 360 era.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, Goose, if Godfall, he says that Gearbox is publishing. Okay, but isn't it supposed to be a PS5 exclusive? I could be wrong about that. That's what I've heard. Who the fuck knows? Again, that's not a game. I saw it. I'm like, this shit looks stupid, so I don't really care. But, you know, you let me know. Let's move on because actually we still have a bunch of shit to cover tonight, man. It's crazy. All right, the next big story that happened today, Jason Schreier, who you know from Kotaku, has left Kotaku. And, you know, as we've said on the show, here's the thing about Jason Schreier. Personally, we don't really like this guy, you know, kind of shady person. But as a reporter, he's probably one of the few actual gaming journalists out there. This dude digs deep and finds shit, and he's actually pretty accurate most of the time. So we got to give him props on his actual craft, you know. So he has left. Huh? Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. You know, I don't like the guy, but he does his thing. You know, here's the most gaming journalists, and I'm being honest right now, all they do is regurgitate fucking press briefings. That's all they fucking do, press releases or whatever. This guy actually hunts shit down and brings things to light. You know, like he exposed all that shit that was going on behind the scenes with Mass Effect, Andromeda, and all this other, and Destiny, all that bullshit that was going on behind the scenes. He found all that shit. So again, got to give the guy props. Got to be fair, even though I don't like the guy like that. You know, and I don't like his outlet either, Kotaku.
Yeah, I guess I don't like his style.
It's just yeah. But
I don't like his. Yeah. I don't like him as a person. But I mean, he does. I guess he does do some pretty investigative stuff.
Yeah.
He feels like I don't know what the word for it is, a whistleblower. He feels like he's one of those journalists that practices in like the McCarthyism type of journalism. You know what I mean?
I can see why you would say that, and he's definitely, tried to. He's also exposed some of the working conditions with some of these games and stuff, the crunch hours and all that other shit, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So as an investigative reporter, he does a good job because there's very little of that in the games industry. Games industry is literally just regurgitating a fucking press release. That's all games journalism is. Let's just be real here,
Yeah.
But so anyway, so he's leaving Kotaku, right? And this is where we could, because we don't know. He says the reason is because he doesn't like what the parent company was doing, some shit like that. This is what I think. Now I'm getting into speculation right now. I think he became bigger than the outlet itself. He is now a brand. He became bigger, and it could be. I have no evidence of this. It could be a money thing where maybe Kotaku couldn't afford him anymore. So he's like, all right, go to greener pastures. Everybody knows who the fuck I am. I'm a big guy. I can go somewhere, make more money over there, and maybe even more freedom. Who knows? Maybe Kotaku was restricting him in some way. Who knows? But
okay.
Go ahead. I think you muted yourself, bro.
Kotaku is, right?
Yeah, we know Kotaku. We're very familiar with Kotaku around here.
Kotaku has a very...
Oh, damn, Brett, you're cutting out at the good parts, bro.
I said they have a very certain point of view that they like to work from, and a narrative they like to push very hard. I haven't, as much as I don't necessarily like the way that he comes to his assumptions, I haven't seen a lot of that from him.
Oh, Brett, I'm about to correct your ass. I'm sorry.
Okay. Am I wrong? Because I have this gut feeling that I'm wrong, but I don't.
Yeah, he embodies that in Kotaku. As a matter of fact, he was the guy who was railing on Dragon's Crown because of their disproportionate women and shit. He was that guy.
He is that guy. Okay.
Yeah, he's that dude.
So I still stick by my statement, though. I think it's a difference in politics. Either he's wanting to go more liberal and they're not, which would be shocking for Kotaku,
right?
Or they're wanting to push him in a direction he doesn't want to go.
Could be, He claims it's something with management up there. He's not happy, and a bunch of other writers, I believe, left.
Okay,
too.
no, now that I is like, no, this dude loves a good fucking witch hunt. That's all he fucking does. Like, yeah, he'll dig up something every once in a while. Like, man, he loves stirring up controversy and pulling witches. That's why I said Duke reminds me of McCarthyism.
You got me thinking now. You think it could be, even though Kotaku's already burned a shit ton of bridges, you think it might be like, we don't want to burn any more bridges. Maybe calm that shit down a little bit. He was like, no, fuck that. I want to keep on burning bridges. It could be that. That's
kind of what I'm thinking. I see society starting to swing back a little bit from the hypersensitiveness that we've kind of rolled into. We've rolled into. I know we don't talk politics in this show. This is just my opinion. Nobody else's. We've rolled into a second puritanical age, right? Like, we are censored more now in art than we have been, in my opinion, in at least 100 years, right? I think that is starting to hurt brands. They don't know where the stopping point of that is. So they just push and push and push and push. And, the whole go woke, get broke kind of thing, I do think it has some sincerity to it, because if you focus too much on that, you don't have that much substance. Focus too much on the woke, you don't have the substance there. And I think that Kotaku is one of the people on the bleeding edge of that. So if society is starting to swing the other way and say, okay, I'm really just fucking sick, and this C virus thing might be the pin in that. People are just sick of hearing about bad fucking news. They're sick about hearing about the world has real problems. They don't care what 4 lesbians in a basement have to say right now. So it's maybe Kotaku is swinging a little bit the other way, and maybe he's wanting to light a lot of fires, and they're kind of telling him, now's really not a good time. Who knows?
That's a good point. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that you remember how I was talking about how, Sony sort of lost its human face. I feel like that's also what has happened with Kotaku. There was a point in time when Kotaku was, we people as gamers and stuff like that, the fans were a part of the joke. Then there was a point when the joke became them, and that things sort of became hostile. And I think that's the biggest loss that site has happened with that site. Now it just seems like they're trying to get people get the hornet's nest all riled up, rather than being like, hey, this is fucked up. You know what I'm talking about, right? And they'll be like, yeah, we do know what you're talking about. I think a lot of that is sort of lost from the old Kotaku, and I feel like a lot of the writers tend to play this sort of holier than thou thing, like they're better than the people that are actually reading their content. And I think a lot of people, I think a lot of times people want to be a part of the club. They don't want to be outside of the club. And I think that's what they when they drew the line in the sand for a lot of people. I think that's where a lot of people got kind of lost interest in them. There's no, nobody wants to be talked down to. Just gonna say that, right?
Yeah.
Do you think he got fired?
I don't think he got fired. I think
hear me out. We have the publisher, the head of the website publisher, whatever you want to call it.
Stephen Totillo, if I believe.
Says, okay, we have enough bad news going on. As a site, we're going to kind of try and change our angle, be a little bit more optimistic and a little less holier than thou, and we're going to need you to be on board. He says, fuck that, I'm not doing that. I've made my career out of this. And they say, well, you're going to need to. And he says, I quit. It's when I say maybe he got fired, maybe it was one of those, you need to do this. And he said, fuck that, I'm leaving. Because the way that it was presented, the way that you said it, the way that he said he had disagreements with the parent company, sounds exactly like that. Like, they came in to negotiate, told him to do a thing. He told them no. They said he has to, and he said, fuck you.
Yeah, could be that. By the way, Kotaku is definitely not. Yeah, it is obviously. We don't really know what happened, but I'm gonna say Kotaku posting more positive news, that ain't happening. These are the same people who wrote 2 articles this week about Final Fantasy. One of them was easy mode is too easy in Final Fantasy VII, and the other one is because of this guy, I had to learn how to parry. Like, so they're still writing bullshit.
Oh, I saw that.
Did you see their Animal Crossing?
What did they say? What did they say?
Yo, they said that one writer said that some character insert, some mechanic of the game made them an asshole, and I'm like, nah, motherfucker, you're probably an asshole.
You're just realizing you as a person are an asshole.
Yeah, somebody just held up a mirror. Nintendo held up a mirror. Here you go.
Oh, hold on. I think Goose told us what's going on. You guys don't watch sports. Some of us do, but not really.
What sports?
Yeah,
where's the sports?
Yeah,
sports ball.
Yeah, sports ball.
They have it on Sundays sometimes.
Oh, I've been watching the Spectator Watch on NBA 2019.
Okay. He says Deadspin had an issue with management, the same management who owns Kotaku, and it rubbed Kotaku folks the wrong way. When it all went down over at Deadspin, their biggest video guy left Kotaku, Tim Rogers. Interesting. So yeah, there's something else I wanted to say about this shit. I totally fucking go ahead, man.
I think it's a money thing.
I think it ultimately I think it is a money thing. Yeah.
Jason Schreier is probably the most well-known gaming journalist out there. If he's not the most well-known, he's at least top 5. He has a lot of power when it comes to contacts. So people know that if they get him as their employee, and he's capable of breaking a lot of news and getting a lot of clicks on their site. So that's very valuable. That's like I mean, no one's gonna get this. Maybe Goose will get it, but like Adrian Wojnarowski, who breaks all the NBA, like whenever someone gets traded or signed or whatever, like he's the one that like he did a recent change from Yahoo to ESPN, and he doesn't play sports. He's in part of management, but he has a lot of contacts, and he's a lot of inside information to these companies, and like that's what Jason Schreier kind of does. He has a lot of contacts, either with like groundwork, like just normal people working, and he also has a lot of people that work at the top that are his contacts. So that's pretty valuable. And if Kotaku wasn't valuing him as much as he probably thought it would, because the whole Deadspin thing. I don't know when that happened. Wasn't it a while ago?
It was, yeah. By the way, he's talking about how basically what was going on with Deadspin is they got super. I do remember this happening. They got super political, and a bunch of the writers left because of that. Because editors put a stop to that shit. Like, no more of that. Stick to sports. And a lot of the writers just say, "Fuck that shit. I want to keep being woke."
And he said in the article in his last piece, or no, I don't know if it was the last one, but he said no one told him what not to write about. He said in his whole, I don't know if it was in his whole time, but like people telling him what to write wasn't a reason. I think he's using this whole Deadspin thing to sort of use it as a scapegoat for him to leave, because I'm pretty sure he has his own reasons. He said in the article, I'm writing a book, and I'm getting ready for my future and my job somewhere else. So he has options, and I doubt he'll go anywhere without knowing exactly what's in store for him. And by the way, can I? I'll mention this later.
All right. I do want to, this a little bit of an aside, just throwing it out there. I remember I went to this event. This is before the Rona happened in late February. It was for Baldur's Gate, for the new Baldur's Gate game, and he was there, right? Jason Schreier was there. I just found it interesting how all the other journalists there were like just swarming around him like he was this idol and shit. I was like one of the few guys that was like, all right, whatever, let me keep eating my fucking hors d'oeuvres and shit that they gave us, It's like, it's kind of interesting. And I know we're kind of being negative here, but whatever. It is what it is, right? I need to call out, because he wrote this. This is all from him. Here's a statement he said. He goes, as a journalist, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that your work is beyond reproach. But the truth is that comments, corrections, and feedback will make us all better. This is coming from a guy who blocks everybody on Twitter when they disagree with him. Pretty interesting statement,
Yeah, I'll sidetrack too then.
Yeah.
So remember when I said that Jeff Keighley wasn't gonna leave E3 just because he thought they were doing something wrong?
Yeah,
it's because he
money. That's what you said, right?
It's because he already had an opportunity somewhere else that probably was more beneficial financially for him. And he what did he announce this week? It's like we're having the gaming festival. I forgot what the hell that shit's called, but during the E3 time frame. Pretty interesting, right?
Yeah, no, that is very interesting. But I'm also not surprised by that either.
Yeah, these people, they're just like you and me, man. Like they go for greener pastures sometimes. A lot of times the money is a big factor to what they do. Like it's just how most people operate.
Yeah, man. I could go off on a whole tangent about the kiss-assery in the industry, but I'll leave that alone. So yeah, Jason Schreier is going to be doing his thing. He says he's going to take a couple of weeks off and shit just to be with his kids or whatever, which is cool, I guess. But he'll be back. I do find one thing. And if somebody in the comments could let me know about this. It's his podcast. I know he's doing a podcast. Is that going to be a video podcast? Because if it is a video podcast, I'm going to find that very funny considering all the shit he talked about influencers. He don't like those guys. Remember he was on with Yang. Yeah, he was saying all this stuff, So I'm like, okay, so you're going to be an influencer now? Pretty interesting, Pretty interesting.
It turns out these people who preach turn out to be hypocrites. What a big surprise.
Right? Yeah, ain't that something? All right, anything else you guys want to say about Jason Schreier?
Nope, good.
Like I'm going to talk about that guy. Go ahead, Brian.
Gosh. It's fair enough. Like he went through, he did stuff. Like he's one of the few people that actually does a good job at what he actually does. He actually does the research, is actually researching stuff, not just republishing stuff. So yeah, like if he wants to move on, he wants to move on. Do I think that he got fired? I don't know. Again, I've not read too much into it. I just think that either it was money involved, because things usually revolve around money in some weird way. So either he wanted to get paid more and then they said no, or they wanted to give him a pay cut, one of the two, but I think that money was involved. Or he just said, okay, you know what, I am too big for you guys, I'm out.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. By the way, the podcast that he does is just what is it? Just an audio podcast. All right. Just get that out there. All right. Next up, so we had an entertaining couple of hours yesterday on Twitter when Amazon France started posting a bunch of PlayStation 4 exclusives were coming to PC, right? Some of these included Days Gone. We had fucking The Last of Us there, Bloodborne, all this shit. Like every game under the sun, Persona 5 listed for coming to PC. And this is like rapid within the hour. Like bam, 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 bam. Super Mario Odyssey was listed on there going fucking nuts. Then another story came out saying, and this was, an actual story saying that Amazon France, the warehouse was being closed, right? So people are like, okay, there's probably some fucking disgruntled employee or something, And it got to a point where Sony had to come out and be like, Sony and Sega had to come out and be like, yo, this shit ain't happening, guys. Get that noise out of here. But I find it amusing how these sites went from reporting this as like Amazon France, oh my god, these games are coming to PC, to by the end, but literally 2 hours later going, oh, this seems like it's all bullshit, guys. Like, damn, some troll got into their fucking account, or whoever had the keys to the kingdom, as Manny would say. He just went fucking crazy. Like, hey, I lost my job. I don't give a fuck. I'm going ham. And then there's also a rumor running around that apparently these guys were like Xbox or something. I can't lend any credibility to that, but I'm like, okay, you just got fired, the warehouse got shuttered or something. This just all these crazy ass listings started coming up. Have to believe it was some disgruntled motherfucker who said, fuck this shit, I'm posting all this stuff today, man. And it led for a very entertaining few hours on Twitter, that's for sure. But what it exposes, PC guys were very happy to have PlayStation games coming. They were like, oh, fuck, here we go, man. We're going to be able to play all these games. But they didn't give a shit about all the Nintendo games coming. They didn't give a fuck about those. Mario Odyssey, we don't give a fuck about that shit. We want that Days Gone, This
is where I think that you aren't fully right in what you're thinking, in that they were happy to play them. I think they were more happy that PlayStation had lost them, because PlayStation does a lot of gloating about Xbox losing their games. So hence it was kind of like, hey, the tide's turned back on you, and now you're losing all your exclusives. So I think it's more a case of, okay, it happened to those guys, and now it's happened to you, so let's see how you react. Let's see what happens when the shoe's on the other foot now.
Oh, okay, so you think it was like a tit for tat type of thing.
Yeah.
Could be.
Again,
I didn't think about
those
it. You're right, yeah.
Like, oh, you can't play this on that, or you can only play this on this PC and whatnot. Like we've seen how mad they got over Zero Dawn coming to PC. Like they pretty much had a meltdown. Yeah. So
suicide
I find
watch
it funny
for some
how
of these
like
guys.
the same people that were like having like a meltdown like 3 weeks ago are now saying, oh, PC guys are begging. It's like, dude, you had a meltdown over one game come over. Like you don't have a legs to stand on right now. So yeah, so I think it's just a case of, okay, now the tide came back, and hence they were just really happy to like see PlayStation's high horse just be cut down at the knees.
Yeah, but apparently all the stuff is bullshit. But it made for a very interesting few hours. I'm like, damn, man, people stuck at home, they just doing whatever they can to entertain themselves,
Yeah, I just find it odd how fast it was all just coming on. Because like the first one I seen was, I think, was Persona 5, and I was like, oh, cool, it makes sense since they're announcing like lots of games and Sega's already putting like Yakuza on there, so I was like, okay, this kind of makes some sort of sense, right? And then I heard like another one, and then a third one, and I'm like, something seems off, like they're all coming way too fast. Like Last of Us 2, possibly, because there was that thing where they wanted someone with experience in some PC tool to work on Last of Us, so it's like, okay, I can kind of see that.
Oh, Brian, hold on a second. Hey, Manny, you say you got to go, man?
Yeah, I'm feeling kind of beat right now.
Yeah, you're still getting over your shit, so definitely take.
Yeah, I'm still getting over my sickness.
Yeah.
So
it was good having you on, man.
Thanks a lot. I'll hope I'm feeling better for the next thing. All right. I'll talk to you later, guys.
Later,
right,
man. Take it easy.
Feel better.
All right, continue, Brian.
Night.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, Brian, continue, bro. Mr.
Well, I think if CD Projekt Red releases games for all the consoles.
How about now? Can you hear me?
There you go. Yes.
Okay,
now we
cool.
hear you.
Yes, I thought that was a bit odd when the third one came out, because then it just seemed a bit, again, too much, too fast. And as Tony has seen, like everyone just started saying, hey, it's a thing, and then turned out it's not a thing, which shows you that none of these guys actually do any actual checking of anything. They just take what's on N4G or take what's on
Yup.
Twitter and then say, hey, it's a news story. It's like, dude, do your research. Like, come on.
Yeah, see, and this is why, Jason Schreier stands out because, like all these guys just jumped on it. Everybody jumped on this shit, It was hilarious because they're just regurgitating. N4G was probably blowing up. I haven't been at N4G in fucking years, but I'm pretty sure that place was just exploding, It's just still a trash heap. I'm imagining still a trash heap. Fucking N4G.
Oh, probably.
It's probably worse now, especially with the consoles coming out and shit.
Yeah, that's when they all come in a roost.
But
yeah, I just think it's funny, and the most interesting part for me, at least, from all of this is how quickly Sony came in to shut this down.
So yeah, think about it. They didn't shut down the whatchamacallit, the remaster engine. They didn't shut that shit down, but they shut this shit down real quick.
So we know that, like, now we have a test case where it's like, yeah, this crazy ass news about a Sony something dealing with a PlayStation comes out, and it's like, shutting this shit down in 2 seconds.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, 2DX says every outlet was sucking on that search engine traffic teat with those Amazon quote unquote leaks. That's right, bro. Go ahead, guys.
See, okay. We now live in a world where I've seen many companies lie and say that, hey, this game is not coming out on this platform, even though that months later we see it happen. I mean, the biggest example I can think of is Bethesda and Skyrim and the Switch. Like, they openly said, like, hey, there's no Skyrim on the Switch. Like, even though it was in this reel that Nintendo had, Bethesda said it's not happening, and then it does happen. So I'm now at a point where I don't really know what they say is even truth or fact anymore, because I've seen them go both ways. So I would say before, like, okay, maybe it's them jumping out and saying it's not happening so that we don't think it's happening, and then it does come out. But then also, it's equally as fine to say that, okay, it's just not happening. Like, I remember, like, a couple of years ago, there was the Amazon Germany had Bloodborne on PC, and yet nothing came from that. So hence, it's kind of like, we just don't know anymore. Like, it's not a case of, okay, this is more likely or that's more likely. It's not just a case of we have no idea anymore. We can hope so, but we have no idea.
Yeah, because there's been documented cases of companies flat out lying. The other one I remember is, David Jaffe, right? He was asked, like, hey, are you doing a Twisted Metal for PS3? He's like, no. And then the next year he comes on stage at E3 and announces Twisted Metal, and then said, like, oh yeah, I lied to you guys.
That was Black, right?
Yeah, Black. That was right. Yes, right. Yeah. And he says, like, yeah, I had to lie to you guys. He admitted it. So, yeah. Sometimes they have to do that. I mean, fucking Peter Molyneux, his whole career is built on lies.
Oh, now, yeah. I mean, obviously, like, what I said. It's interesting that they responded this quickly. I obviously don't. Who knows if they're telling the truth? If it was Brett, he would say they're not telling the truth. But I think it's just interesting.
Come on. You think a company that big can move its... say something...
Damn it, Brett, you're cutting out of the good stuff, man.
If you say something's not coming out and it comes out 2 months later, that shit was planned. Like, anything going through... Anybody who's ever had to sit through a meeting realizes that it's going to take 45 minutes to fucking explain to somebody to tie your shoe. Things in meetings, like, get exponentially dumber and harder to do the more people you add. So when you have a company that big that does something in 2 months, that is breakneck speed for them. There is no way that shit wasn't planned.
Wait, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know either. What's your point here, bro?
I'm just saying, when a company says something isn't coming out, and then a short time later they're like, "Oh, it is coming to the thing," it's not a question of if they lied to you. Of course, they lied to you.
Oh yeah, sure, but the games haven't come out yet, so we don't know yet.
We don't know if it's a lie or not.
Yeah, we don't know yet. We don't know if it's a lie or not.
No, it is. That's what I'm saying. It's always a lie.
It's always a lie.
I was right.
Okay, yeah, you were right. Okay, man. Yo, Damien, I hope you're enjoying Brett's stuff tonight, man. Very anti-Sony.
Damien sleeps on the shows where we talk shit about PlayStation.
Yeah. Yo, Xbox fucking sucks. Now he's listening.
Dude, someone just woke up.
Like, I heard something, man. My ears are burning. Shout out to Damien, man.
Yo, man.
Oh God.
I'm just gonna remind you guys are all arguing against the guy who was right about the Switch. So,
Brett, just because you were right one time doesn't make you right all the time, Brett.
oh, I was so right about that. I still got another year of crow for you guys on that.
Yo, my man Goose said Golden Crust.
Oh shit. Yeah.
By the way, for you guys who don't know, Golden Crust sells Jamaican patties. Goose just fucked me up right now.
Yo. So
Golden Crust. Go ahead,
look at
Carlos, I can't right now, son.
So, yo.
Oh, God.
So, Brett.
Yes.
What are the? I'm gonna go on a complete tangent because I'm just interested.
Oh my God.
What are the like? Obviously, you changed your mind today once at least. So I'm just curious. What would it take for PlayStation to?
I'm sorry. That shit is hilarious. I'll mute myself. Keep going.
What would it take? What would it take for PlayStation to do for you to buy a console on launch date? And bear in mind, I'm not one of those advocates that's saying, "Yo, why aren't you getting one?" I'm just curious. And that was the end of the question.
Oh, okay. Fan service.
Fan service?
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Fans.
So, so if they release if they release a console, and they're like PS5 fan service, you'll buy it?
Possibly. I mean, it's not that I'm switching directions at breakneck speed. It's that I've got a running tally of asshole things I'm angry about, and when it reaches a certain threshold, over the other guys, like, if Microsoft comes out and does a bunch of asshole things, like, that's going to raise their asshole threshold, and then so they'll be kind of neck and neck with Sony. But like I said, these decisions aren't made in a vacuum. Microsoft is clearly pandering for the goodwill of their consumers. Sony is being indifferent towards the goodwill of their consumers. So I need to see a change in their attitude. That's basically all that I need to see. I need to see a change in their attitude that's focused on the happiness of their customers, not just how much money they get out. Because I've seen too many games that are just kind of rushed out. I've seen too much shit that's rushed out. And, even just the launch of the PS4, man, like, they left us with nothing but PS3 games for the first year. It's the reason half of us are kind of hesitant to buy it this time around. That they weren't good to their customers, and they haven't been great to their customers for a while. But then again, Microsoft had nothing to offer. Now all of a sudden, Microsoft buys 16 studios and fucking comes out with a new system that looks dope as hell and starts acting like they give a shit whether or not I think that they're assholes. I mean, it's not a lot. As somebody who's a small businessman, showing that you care goes a long way. Showing that you don't give a fuck? Oh my God, that goes just the opposite. I don't know what the opposite of brownie points are, but Sony's been racking them up. I don't feel like they care for me as a customer any more than how much money. And while some people may say, yeah, that's obvious, their business, that's what they are there to do, I kind of agree. But I also agree that there's things bigger and more important than the almighty dollar. I believe in the Stan Lees and their visions of, maybe that makes me, a hopeless optimistic or a romantic or something like that. But, that's all a cynic is a pointless or a disappointed optimist. Yeah. Morgan just suggested we call them not brownie points, but shit dollars. I like that.
Shit dollars.
But like, let me ask you, because you've all kind of, even Manny expressed it before he left. Like, this feels like the first generation of Xbox when they're like, "Hey, everybody, come on, get on board." Does anybody here not think that Sony is, or does not think that Microsoft is trying harder than Sony?
Oh no, they definitely are, because think about all the news they've been dropping about the Xbox One or Series X, whatever the fuck they're calling it, compared to PS5. So yeah, definitely they've been more on the ball. Sony's been, we've been giving Sony shit for the first 4 months now of this year that they have not been communicating the system correctly. So yeah, Microsoft definitely has the cake there. Granted, it hasn't swayed me, but they definitely been doing their thing when it comes to PR and marketing and all that other shit. More than Sony for sure.
Okay, so but my point with that is, you can all, let's just call it the X Factor. You can all recognize the X Factor in action. You see Microsoft leveraging this X Factor, this stand so by, this unity, this community, but whatever you want to. Sony has in no way even acknowledged this X Factor. Like, they seem distant and impersonal cold. Like, Manny hit a lot of it on the head. Like, I'm not sure that it's like a robot overlord that I'm not sure even knows that I exist. But I can still get stuff from it, but it's not like they care. It seems Microsoft probably learned the hard way that, hey, those numbers are people and they like to be treated like people. And if you stop treating them like people, you no longer have the numbers. It's as simple as that, man. Again, I'm very wary because I lived in a generation where Sony fucking sucked. Tony won't admit it, but some of you other guys, come on,
Sony?
Yeah. Like when they fucked up the PS3 launch, but they eventually got their shit together.
They had a lot of good games for PS2, but that machine was a piece of fuck.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and we need to make a distinction. Their hardware was not good. It was obviously, compared to Xbox and GameCube, the other systems at the time, compared to those, it was the weakest system. But those games were so fucking amazing that
it had good games. I will give you that. But during that time, Sony was just as a company somehow they were a dick, and they came out with systems that broke out of the fucking box.
I don't know about that. I mean, granted, the original PS2.
No. There's no. I don't know about that. I watched.
No. I said. Okay, let me rephrase that. Basically, maybe they were dickish. I wasn't reading any fucking news then. All I cared about was the games, and that's all that really should matter to people at the end of the game. Like, obviously, it's good to have like a nice face out there. And
dude, a lot of those games weren't even Sony though.
No, they weren't, but it was on Sony's system, and they're
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's false grace. Like, you're giving a pass because some people decided to make.
No, I played those games on PlayStation. So I'm giving PlayStation props. It's as simple as that.
You shouldn't get PlayStation props. They had nothing to do with games.
Yes, they did. They were exclusives. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the ones that weren't exclusives.
No, we're talking about exclusives, bro. Come on, man.
We're talking about PlayStation 2 having the greatest library. It's not all Sony exclusives.
Yeah, but everybody knows that. They weren't all Sony exclusives, but a lot of them were exclusives.
Okay,
Grand Theft Autos were all exclusive for a long time. Metal Gears were exclusive for a long time. Prince of Persia was exclusive for a long time. Like, they had a bunch of shit you could only play on PlayStation for a long fucking time. And then obviously there's the actual PlayStation, like God of War and fucking Jack and Daxter and Sly Cooper and Ratchet and Clank, Twisted Metal. They had a bunch of shit. Like, so you couple the PlayStation exclusives with the third-party exclusives. And we've said this before, and I will say this till the day I die. PlayStation 2, the objectively best console ever released. Game-wise, nothing's touching that fucking console before or after.
Game-wise.
And that's what you buy a console for. That's what do you buy a console? Oh, this is a great piece of hardware. No, you buy it for fucking games. Why do you think people are buying the Switch? The Switch is a piece of shit. It's a piece of crap. It has games people want to play. The Wii was a piece of shit. People wanted to play the fucking the sport, the exercise game.
Objectively, those were good, well built. Have you ever tried to break a console from Nintendo? That shit does not happen. You can try.
Sure I could break the fucking Switch.
I dropped
a GameCube it was in a backpack that had books on top of it, so heavy it snapped both straps and fell a story, landing on my GameCube at the bottom of the backpack. And that shit, when I pulled it out, it was broken. Slid the lens back into place, heard it click in. Worked for another 7 years until I got rid of it.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. You're talking about the actual like hardware, right? Which is fair. But again, like we're talking about the actual like, shit inside the machine, the software. That's what we're talking about, right? When it comes to that, like PlayStation 2 was not as powerful as its counterparts. Everybody missed that.
No, I'm not even talking power. I'm talking.
But at the same time, but even again, just to finish my point here, Switch, least powerful console out right now, and it's wiping the pants off everybody right now because it has games.
Okay, hold on. Can we move on? Like, you're strawmanning me real hard. I am not arguing about the games. I am saying that the things that Sony did as a company to make that hardware were bullshit. And I can separate the hardware from the games because different fucking people made them. You don't give one group accolades for something another group did. It's as simple as that.
So just erase those games that were on PlayStation 2 just because they were made by other people that were unplayable on PlayStation.
No. Hold on. Sony, PlayStation 2 had the best library. It's as simple as that. I use words, and I don't mean to sound like a dick. I use words like they're meant to be used. It's not the best console. When you say console, you're referring to a machine. It is the weakest machine, and it was the least. And it was more shoddy than the Xbox 360. I saw more PlayStation 2s die than I saw Red Rings of Death, and that should fucking tell you something. It had the best library, but that.
Well, I mean, I'll raise your anecdotal to my anecdotal. My 360s crashed. My PS2 never crashed. It never failed. So it's like we just need to give you that point. You need to come up with like numbers, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. If
my PS2 never crapped out either. In fact, I never had to laser calibrate it or nothing the entire time I used it. I went through 360s.
Yeah, but obviously that's all I know. I'm just confused. I'm like, okay, let's not worry about the systems games. Let's only focus on the hardware, because the hardware sucked. That means the system sucked. Like, okay, maybe the hardware-wise it sucked, but the games kind of make up for it, man.
That's why you say the library, man. When you say the console, you're referring to the hardware.
I'm talking to everything. The console is the hardware and the software. It's everything.
Okay, but it's not my fault you're using language wrong.
What the fuck are you talking about? How am I using language wrong?
You're just, Brett. You're being really, really
I'm being pedantic. I'll agree with.
Yeah. Is anybody in the chat? Do you understand what the fuck I'm talking about? Am I using language wrong? Is the writer using language wrong here? Come on, man, Brett. You're being very nitpicky right now, and I understand you had problems with PlayStation. That's understandable, but you're being really unfair right now, bro.
Well, the reason I'm being nitpicky is because when you just say, oh, it's the same thing, it just takes any complaints and issues that I've had with PlayStation and says, yeah, but there were good games, which disregards my argument completely, which is the reason it feels like I'm hanging on something that isn't important, but in actuality is the crux and hinge of my entire fucking argument, man.
All right. By the way, didn't you chastise everybody for their quote-unquote truce just a couple of weeks ago? Now you're using yours, man. I'm not taking that away from you. Just, because you were saying, oh, we're not talking about our feelings and our truths. We have to talk about things objectively.
I'm talking about, and that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying here. You may feel like you can say Sony is the best console and be thinking of their library. That doesn't mean that their console is their library.
Yeah, and
I'm talking shit on the hardware, and your response is, yeah, but the software. And we're going around.
Yeah, I understand. But why do you buy a system? Bad experience. Yeah, why do you buy a system for the software? Without the software, it doesn't. You guys know I love the motherfucking Vita. I love that system. The best handheld ever. Doesn't fucking matter. No games for it. That if you don't have games, it doesn't mean shit. And on the flip side, the Switch, piece of crap. It is weak as fuck. Right? Great fucking games on it. It all comes down to games, man. It all comes down to games in the end. 360, piece of shit console, hardware-wise, right? It had fucking games people wanted.
It had great games, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like there is a distinction there to be made.
Sure, but it's a pointless distinction. That's all I'm saying. It's a pointless distinction.
And I mean, I never rag on the 360. I mean, Manny went with me down to the place in Chinatown. I got my first system fixed twice. They refused to fix it the third time. I had to buy a second system. Then that one crapped out on me. I was playing Mass Effect 3. Bought a third one, right? You know, why? Because the games. And I was in the middle of Mass Effect. I was like, I have to finish this game.
You
So
gotta
I
finish it,
bought
right?
it. Yeah, right. So and you know, I love Reach and everything. I was like, fuck it. I just get another one. You know, and it didn't bother me. It's like the 360 still had a great UI, had great
So
experience, had great games. Fucking shit burned out on me. Burned out a second time. I still bought another one. Now
so
with
you
PS2, in my experience, right? What did it offer me? I had a DVD player. I had great games to play on it. It did what it said it would do. It turned on and off. It worked. I never had people had problems. Like even Kristen told me she had the laser calibration issue. She probably stood with you and say, yeah, you could probably swap stories about your PS2. Mine would work like butter the entire lifetime I had it. I played a ton of games on that thing. Never had an issue. Neither I didn't know anyone who had issues like that bad, but I knew plenty of people who had red rings.
so you would say that the 360 is an excellent console.
Except
Yeah.
for it had a major flaw, but it was an excellent system. Yeah, it had
I'm-
one major flaw. It overheated, and the Power PC chip desocketed, and that's it. Red ring, bam, major flaw.
Yeah, no, and I agree, but like taking that into account, like you would say that the console is an excellent console.
Yes,
Because it played great games.
Okay, I guess I'm the only one using it like that.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are, bro.
Dude, the 360 was a badly engineered piece of crap.
Yeah, no one's going
It
to
was.
argue that. You know,
Yeah.
look how many
Yeah, it-
360s. How many 360s have been bought in this podcast alone? Like 10,
Right.
maybe more.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
But,
I
but
mean,
and
you
why
can't
we
take-
keep buying them? We didn't
yeah,
get mad and
'cause
go,
of the
fuck
games.
this. You know.
Yeah, the games. The
Okay,
games kept you coming
so-
back. Yeah.
So what should I say when I'm talking about the hardware being cheap and unreliable?
Say hardware's cheap and
Just
unreliable.
just refer to it as the hardware. Like I hate the hardware of
Yes.
the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, because
Well,
when-
you
yeah,
could just say
yeah.
you think it's badly engineered, just like you said with 360. I gave you the positives, right? I turned the system on, had a great UI, great dash. I wish the Xbox One looked like that shit. I want to go back to that. That's how
Yeah.
good it was, right? It was snappy, it was fast. Yes, it had the major engineering faux pas that took 4 hardware revisions to fix. They did fix it, and I finally got one that worked consistently. With PS2,
Okay.
yes, you could say laser calibration. They fucked up the laser calibration. Maybe some people had drawer issues. The tray. Some people had tray. I know Manny had. He had a little arm that could take the tray out and stuff. Eventually, the arm broke. But most people, including me, my system worked like butter. I eventually got the little skinny one, the little skinny PS2. That thing works fine.
Did you have a launch one?
Yeah, I got
See,
that shit day one.
That's where my problem is. Because keep in mind, we're talking. This whole thing started with Tony asking me how Sony was an asshole. Okay.
Yeah.
As the production of the PS3 went on, they kept making revisions and using cheaper parts. For the last, I'd say, third of the generation, the thing had been rendered pretty much like cheap Chinese knockoff.
Well,
Like
the
if
P-
you had the original, the OG one, that thing was a brick. It was fine, but he started cutting corners and cutting more corners until you would buy a new system and the fucking drawer plate would fall off, or it would stop ejecting after 2 weeks or something like that. Like it had problems towards the end, and even from that, like the whole get a second job thing, like I don't understand how I have to explain. Like,
Oh yeah, that was bullshit. No one's
Yeah,
defending that
Brett,
nonsense.
all of the
Yeah.
negatives that you're stating, they're negatives for us too.
Yeah.
Like, don't get us wrong. Like, we agree with you that all the bullshit Sony has pulled off is fucking bullshit. But at the end of the day, when we buy a console, we're the thing that weighs the heaviest when it comes to the scales of whether a console for us is good or not is the games and whether we enjoyed them and whether we thought it was worth it. If, like, for example, the 360.
no, I agree. Hold on. This conversation, this thing took a turn, and
Yes,
I
it
gotta
did.
put a pin in this so that I can take the turn with it. Like, Tony was asking me how Sony had expressed. When had Sony ever been an asshole?
Oh, I was specifically for the
Sony.
PS2, the PS2 hour, because I was confused by that one. It was the PS2 hour specifically talking about, just so you could put a further pin on it. The PS3 era, we all know about that shit. Get a second job.
No, it was the tail end. It was tail end of the PS2 into the PS3 for me. That it was cutting corners, making shoddy consoles, and then the whole fucking attitude of the PS3 release. Like, that's the Sony, the asshole Sony I was talking about.
Brett, I mean, let me bring up another example. Nintendo fucking got a Wii and refurbished it into a Wii U and got a controller, and then you were still positive about the Switch after it failed. So it's like you're using Sony's past track record against them, but the Switch, you were the champion of the Switch.
And
Nintendo,
Nintendo actually did what you're accusing Sony of with the Wii. Remember the Wii, the Wii Plus or whatever, the last version of the Wii
Motion Plus.
No, not the controller. The system that couldn't go online or play any downloadable games. It was disc only, and had no GameCube ports. I mean, talk about cutting corners. They pulled the GameCube ports out. They pulled the internet out. It couldn't go online, so you couldn't go on the shop or the store or nothing. I mean, I don't know what the point of that thing was, but that was the last version that was sold.
Oh no, Nintendo does not get a pass from me. They do dick stuff all the time. Like, Nintendo has always been an asshole. I got a Wii. I did not get the one after that. I championed the Switch. Like, I don't think that just because I was like, fuck yeah, Switch, mean like I was on team. Because clearly I wasn't. I hated them for a long time.
Well, no, the reason why I brought it up is because all of the arguments that you use against Sony can be applied to pretty much anybody else.
Except its direct competitor in this market.
Its direct competitor in this market. Microsoft?
Yes.
Microsoft.
That's why I keep saying I'm not judging this in a way. That's why that part is so important. You have one company making outreach to fans, giving some fan service.
Well, wait, Microsoft had their asshole moment this generation when Dan Matrick came out and said, when people were complaining about DRM, and he came out and said, well, if you don't have internet, we sell the 360. That's what he told fans at the launch of the Xbox One.
Yeah, and notice I didn't. For the long, I eventually traded out a cheap tattoo for one, but I didn't buy an Xbox One this generation because they were assholes. You're starting to see a pattern. When a company starts treating its customers badly, I stop giving them my business.
Well, sure. I mean, that would be true of anything. If Sony came out tomorrow, if not Mark, Tony, who's the president again? Jim, what's his name?
Jim Ryan.
You know, if Jim Ryan comes out in June, let's say around E3 time, they do a stream, and Jim Ryan comes out and says, "Listen, motherfuckers, 550, we're gonna DRM the shit out of it, whatever." If he comes out and just dicks us over, then of course people are gonna jump ship. Right? It's like, no, I'm not going to pay for that. I'm not going to let you dictate what I can and can't do, or you're going to take away things from me. If he goes, no, you can't share games anymore. If you're on the system and you sign in and then someone else signs in, they can only play their games. They can't play your games. You can't play their games. Okay, Jim, I'm out. Right? That's it. As simple as that. Until you fix that shit, I'm not on board.
Mm-hmm.
All right. By the way, I'm gonna have to move the show on because the fans are getting pissed off. they don't want us talking about this. They're like, you guys talked about this shit already. So let us move on, man.
Wait, Goose, it's your fault. You're the one. That
Call out.
You're the one that derailed the whole show.
we fucking the making patty shit.
That's a chain, by the way.
Golden crust. Yeah.
No, but I'm just imagining like if I would have done like an Italian accent or something, he would have wrote like Olive Garden, like the
Olive Garden. Oh, shit.
Golden crust. Yeah, that's a chain, man. We got one in Jamaica, man. Jamaica Avenue. All right, don't worry, Brett. I still got more shit to piss you off tonight, man.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right, the next story. Get ready for this one. And again, this is another report. Not a rumor. It's a report from multiple sources. Okay, so GTA 6, the report states that the game will not be as big as GTA 5 or Red Dead Redemption. That's going to be a smaller game that's going to be that's going to have regular updates, right? And the report says that the reason for that is because 2K is not happy that Rockstar effectively only released 2 games in the decade, and they're like, you guys need to pump out more shit faster, so that's the reasoning behind that. So it's still going to be a big game. It's just not going to be like a GTA size big game at launch, but it will get a bunch of like, DLCs and shit like that to offset that.
I don't know what to think about it, because I'm still concerned with Sam Houser leaving Rockstar.
Yeah.
I'm still concerned that there's something wrong there, and I'm concerned about GTA 6.
Why have they not been working on it?
I don't know if they have been or have not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's my question. Like, okay, so train of thought is, well, clearly they have to have been working on GTA 6 since the release of GTA 5, but other me says, but GTA Online has been the focus of what they've been doing, so they've been releasing regular content for that, and that's been keeping them busy. And then first me says, yeah, and what are they doing with the literal billions of dollars that they're making? Can they not hire more people to, maybe have 2 teams? Like, I don't know, is the wild runaway success of GTA worth hiring extra people for? It seems like it would. And then the argument with myself stops, because I can't... Why are you not working on this? Why is this not already done? It's been like fucking... How long? How long has it been since GTA 5?
Well, I mean, they released
2013. 2013, yeah. And then Red Dead Redemption 2 came out 2018, right? So, yeah.
2018.
So 2 games in a decade, yeah.
Okay, so let's say like the Red Dead team should have been working on GTA 6 since 2018, so they should have a solid 2 years into this. Like, there should be a foundation. They shouldn't be like, well, we're starting to make Red Dead 6 right now, and we're kind of hammering out the terms of what it's going to be. Why? Why is this not already a thing?
I don't know. If I had to guess, it's just like, hey, we're making too much money off GTA Online, so that shit could wait.
So you can't hire more people?
I don't know. There's a thing. It's like Rockstar. How many hundreds of fucking employees don't they have? Also, here's the other thing. By the way, this report also came from Jason Schreier. One of the other reasons they're going by this model is because, because of the shakeups that's going on within Rockstar, they want to prevent crunch time. So they're making the project shorter to prevent large crunch times and shit. That's the other part of it.
Just hire.
Hire more people. I thought they had enough people.
Dude, make another Manhunt. Fucking Christ's sake, you have you have a whole library of games you can be making.
Yeah. Make Rockstar Table Tennis. Shout out to Adam.
Yeah, to Adam.
You guys have the money.
The whole story seems part of it seems kind of off. I mean, they're complaining about not making games because fucking GTA 5 is the best-selling game of all time, or one of the best. Like, this game sells every freaking month, and their online is crazy.
Yeah,
like,
bitching about the golden goose.
Yeah, exactly. They're complaining about a product that's printing them money. So I'm kind of surprised why. And this, like Tony mentioned, this is Jason Schreier reporting it, so must be credible.
Yeah. It's weird though. There's a lot of questions in this shit that we don't really have answers for.
Do you think that maybe because we haven't really seen much from them since GTA, and even then that was a little bit of a clusterfuck of a release. Like, do you think they've just been riding their success and they're getting a little lazy maybe?
Could be.
I mean, they've definitely been riding their success.
Yeah.
But I mean, they did release Red Dead 2 not too long ago, so
yeah, and they update GTA Online all the time. Like every single day, I get an email about a fucking update they have. So, maybe they're just resting on that particular laurel. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know.
It's so easy just to make a team for that and then move your core team somewhere else. You're just putting frosting on the cake. You're not building core mechanics. Now, I will agree. Red Dead must have taken fucking forever to make.
Well, think about it like this, Chris. When did you work for Rockstar?
2013.
Yeah, and they were talking about that game back then, weren't they?
Oh, Red Dead 2?
Yeah, Red Dead 2, yeah. So that's how long they probably been working on it even before that,
Yeah, they were doing R&D then. I remember they would bring in pictures from like museums and stuff of Native American weapons and 1800 style guns and clothes, and they had all this R&D going on. I saw most of that because I was helping the guy with the repo so that the San Diego guys could look at it.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's the point. It's like you worked there forever ago, and they were working on this shit. So yeah, that game. Yeah. Think about that, Brett. That's like 7 years minimum. They were working on.
No, I don't. Don't get me wrong. You can bake that as long as you need to. Take 7 years. Take 8 years to make a game. I give Bethesda a pass that we only get a fucking Fallout game or Elder Scrolls game like every 7 or 8 years. You guys are literally known for one type of game with 2 different skins on it. Just fucking pick up the pace.
Oh shit!
Oh,
that's funny.
Man.
Dude, I love the game, and I don't care. I love it in both skins. I love the medieval skin, and I love the post-apocalyptic skin. Like it's a great. Both of them are fun. Both of them are interesting. But you guys really, like, I know you made Doom, but like, come on.
Oh, also, by the way, Brent, it's going to be 10 years since the last Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. You've made Skyrim and if you're going to do, like, if it's going to be a once-in-a-decade thing, just fucking let it be a big thing and just give it to me. I know it's going to be another 10 years before I get another one, so I'm going to be like, okay, so this is, I may die before they release the next game. I don't fucking.
Remember didn't they shoe in like Elder Scrolls 6 like in an E3 press conference?
They did.
Like
2018,
2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2018.
They mentioned it. They
had a logo.
With the launch.
Yeah.
Hold on. The launch of the new Xbox, which is one of the reasons why I'm talking about possibly buying an Xbox, because I know for a fucking fact that the new Elder Scrolls will be on it. I don't know if it's coming to PlayStation, and if they get the new Elder Scrolls as an exclusive, motherfucker.
Yeah, you're Bray, you're in that Microsoft hype train, man.
Dude, no,
they're not gonna get
that shit's not gonna be an exclusive to Microsoft.
No, it's not. That's why I'm saying, like, if they got that, like, boom, it'd be done. But when I am talking about, like, dude, fucking Microsoft, it's just because one of the big reasons is because I know Elder Scrolls. So I'm like, fuck, I'm going with Elder Scrolls. I know I'm going to get Elder Scrolls. I had them on the fucking stage. So I can start getting hyped about Elder Scrolls right now.
Yeah, but that was a point where Todd Howard was showing up in every press conference, including a freaking Apple one.
Oh man,
fucking Todd.
So yeah, we'll have to see what's going on with GTA 6, but interesting. Too many questions for this one though. Too many questions. All right, next up here, no surprise, Gamescom 2020 will not happen. I give you one guess why.
Because not enough fans.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
my guess is that Todd Howard is just not available.
Todd Howard couldn't make it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, so the C virus strikes again, so that's why they're having. But they do promise that they will have a digital event. Let us hope they're not like the ESA, who claimed they were going to do a digital event for E3 and then decided, we're not going to do one. So hopefully they won't do that for Gamescom. Hopefully we'll get something. That's just how it is now, man. It's funny. It's like PAX East was like the last big gaming convention of the year, if you really think about it. All right. Next up here, this one's kind of funny. So the ESRB is now going to tell you if a game has loot boxes in it or not. Like, I guess that's for the dumbass parents, right? Who don't understand and shit, And it took this long because remember the ESA initially was like, no, they're fine, whatever. It's all good. They changed that tune real quick, didn't they?
Oh yeah. Again, when the specter of government comes in and it's like, oh shit, we're gonna regulate this shit. Time for congressional hearings. They're like, whoa, we don't want that shit. No. Yeah, how can we make this go away?
Wow.
Yeah, gotta put like cigarette warnings on the games. All right.
What were you saying, Brett?
Give us a chance to fix this.
Yeah, man. And not that. So it says in-game purchases includes random items. So that's what it'll say under the rating now if it has loot boxes. So I guess that's something.
Yeah, until the next time EA gets greedy and sticks some fucking bullshit in a game that gets us all fucking the FTC involved.
Oh my God.
That next thing we're gonna have games come with like key locks and You have to give your driver's license to get. Shit, man.
You know, fucking Joe Lieberman's gonna show up. You know.
Oh shit, from the dead, man. Yeah, Jack Thompson.
Jack Thompson. You know, get all those guys. And what was the other guy? Lee, I think he was. Like all these dudes are gonna just show up out of the woodwork. Oh man. All right, and the last thing I want to talk about, this one's just kind of interesting. So, Crysis Remastered is coming to PC and consoles. So, my question is, can your console run Crysis, bruh?
Did they really need to remaster it, or did they just put it at high settings?
No, it's HD. It's not. Yeah, I guess it's high settings. But I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, by the way, this was released last gen too. For consoles, Crysis was, but I guess now, this one's gonna have way tracing and higher resolution textures.
Yeah. Oh, so it's going to be shinier.
Yep. Hey, listen, remember we talked about this before. Like, all these games, that are coming next gen, they're just going to be shiny. That's it. They're not really going to see anything innovative,
Who's asking for this?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
For innovative?
The only reason why
Crysis
was...
Yeah.
No.
The biggest reason why Crysis was so popular is because people couldn't run it.
Well, because it was bleeding edge. It was like, this is supposed to be... They were making a game that was still going to be hard to get your PC to play in 5 years. They were trying to future-proof a game on PC. It was almost kind of an experiment. Like, I don't even think Crysis is a great game. It was just really pretty and crash your cards.
Yeah, like, could anybody besides the developer actually play that shit when it came out originally in 2007?
So I knew some, like, it was a collar popping point. People were like, yeah, I can play Crysis. And, like, that's the only thing I knew the game for. That's honestly the only thing I really remember about it.
Yeah, that's all I remember. Like, yo, can your system run it though? That's all I remember.
I played it.
That game, meme. Yeah, go ahead.
That game was fucking beautiful back in the day, but not a lot of people could play it. So it's like I couldn't play it. I just I'm like, damn, those frames look fucking sick. You know, when she was running like at 3 frames per second, it was like, it looked fucking beautiful.
Especially, it was just a really good slideshow.
It was a pretty good PowerPoint, yeah. But I don't know who's interested in this. I mean, shit, maybe I'll buy it. Fuck it. Yeah. I think I still have it on Steam. Let me check.
Yeah, Brian, as our resident PC guy, what do you make of this?
I'm slightly confused as to why they chose. Well, I'm not confused. I'm just annoyed that they chose the remaster route. We all know why they did it, because these days everything's just getting a remaster because nostalgia. You remaster the Mario games, remaster Final Fantasy, remaster Resident Evil. So hence, why not remaster everything? Because why the hell not? So that's why they are remastering it. I'm kind of annoyed in that we're not getting like a next sequel or like a off-spin or something else in that universe, because again, the game, Crysis 1 itself is actually a really good game. It's really quite fun.
Maximum health.
Yeah, the suit powers were great. You get like fuck around. It's like third-person GTA. And I love the destruction in the game. It was
the trees. Yo, Tony. Yeah. Yo, Brian. When you shot the trees and they fucking broke down, that shit was crazy.
See, and this is what I mean by when I see like next gen games. It's like, why aren't any of them doing that? Like, this is something that happened like years ago. Yeah, it's not happening now. Like, I want the environment to react to my presence, not just be there.
Could you get eaten by sharks in this one, or am I confusing it with another game?
Possibly a different game, but there may be a trophy for that if I remember correctly. Because I did get the platinum in Crysis.
Wait, this was on PlayStation?
Yep, on PS3. Got the platinum in that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, right?
Very
I'm just confused as to why not like a Crysis 4 or like a Crysis Warhead or something. Some sort of next Crysis. Because again, the Crysis games, they really stood out as like, okay, like this is like next level tech. So maybe this is like a prelude to like a Crysis 5 or Crysis 4 for next gen, possibly. So, yeah. I'm excited to see what they do next, but I'm not excited for this. Like this, I can quite easily just do without. But the interesting part is that it's running on the Switch as well.
Oh.
Yeah, it's coming out on the Switch, so we now live in a world where the Switch can play Crysis.
I can't wrap my brain around that.
No one can.
What's the last game Crytek has released? I haven't. Was it Rise?
They had like this hunting game on PC.
Wasn't it a VR game or something?
Oh yes, is that the Something's Journey?
Something like that.
Oh, wasn't it The Hunt?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was the one. That was the VR game with dinosaurs. Journey. Yeah, Robinson the Journey. That was it.
Yeah.
Oh no, never mind. I haven't played that.
There was this other game we called Arena of Fate, but it was canceled apparently. Yeah, it was a dinosaur game. A VR dinosaur game.
Yeah,
Christ,
so hopefully
you should take
do
it.
something. Yeah. Imagine that, man. Crysis 4, Oh, it'd be beautiful.
Yo, man, if it's between Crysis 4 and imagine they release another Metro. Those are the kings, man, of those fucking the graphics.
I'm just loving how like now people are seeing Metro. It's like, dude, like where the hell were you for like the last couple of years? Where was you guys when Metro was exclusive on Xbox?
Oh, dude, Brad,
This one was exclusive on Xbox. Like it was Xbox exclusive. It never came out on Metro 2033. Never came out on PlayStation. The Redux did, but not the original. Interesting, right?
Interesting. Very interesting.
So yeah, all these ponies talking about like, oh, Metro looks really good and all. Sure, like, shut up. Where were you?
Yo, man, now you know how I feel. Yo, Brian, now you know how I feel about the fucking Wii U, man.
Mm-hmm.
Or all these people back then.
Yeah, they love those Wii U games,
Dude, I dipped out on the Wii U. I'm one of those people.
You dipped out?
Yeah, dude. I played.
Did you dip in before you dipped out?
I played it. I never bought it.
Oh, so you never dipped in. You couldn't dip out then.
I guess. I didn't engage that generation. It's weird. Every Nintendo ever made, except for the Wii U. The Wii U was just like, nope, not doing it. Fuck you.
Interesting.
Dude, I'm all over the place with my console history.
Yeah, that's for sure, man.
Oh yeah, after the things about today's show, that shit definitely gonna change.
Dude, well, I think okay. I think the big thing. This feels like the OG Xbox. Like it feels like the same. Console reminds me of it too. I'm not sure if they're doing that on purpose. Does anybody else feel like this reminds them of kind of the approach for the OG Xbox?
I mean, I was like 9 years old when that shit came out, so I don't remember how. I just bought it because Halo.
Manny kind of mentioned it.
Yeah, he's talking about the way the Xbox guys are out there, talking to people directly and shit.
Well, yeah, the way it feels like a community. It feels like they're saying, actually asking gamers, what do you want? Gamers are telling them, and they're saying, okay, we're gonna go make that. It's very simple, and the way that they're like, okay, you want more games? We'll buy more studios. What kind of games do you want? What studios do you like? Like, I know it's because they need our business desperately, but they're pandering, and I love pandering. I love it when companies are nice to me for no reason. For no reason. I don't like The Witcher at all, but I love CD Projekt Red. Why? Because they're really nice guys. Because they're considerate of their community. They actually engage and they care about the people who play their game. God forbid, they care about the people that play their video games. And weirdly enough, that's gotten them the good graces of gamers like myself who are willing to constantly buy every game that comes out just in the hopes that I enjoy it because I love the studio so much. And I realize that they're talented. So I'm just saying, it's not out of this world to, like, I don't know, be nice to your fans, try, reach out, engage a little bit, act like you care. Even if you don't, just pretend a little. Yeah. Just give me the effort of pretending a little bit.
Now I gotta be thinking about Nintendo and its fans. Like, they pretty much have an abusive relationship, Like,
dude,
Nintendo doesn't give a fuck, but the fans keep coming,
Dude, Nintendo throws breadcrumbs and you run to grab them. That's just how it is. Nintendo is like this fucking weird ass diva that, you know, some fucking Kanye motherfucker who just like comes through the room and like throwing $100 bills. You're like, I mean, he drops hot cash every time he comes through. He won't even talk to me. He doesn't know my name. And it's not because he has any malicious intent. It's just because he's so far up his own ass that he can't see. That's Nintendo right there, which almost becomes cyclical because they don't really hold a whole lot of malice towards Nintendo. It's like they're just so far up their own ass that I don't even know. It's just alien to me. So, okay, sure. Yeah, Nintendo is a weird, but they've always been that way, and that's kind of maybe like ever since I was a kid. That's just been Nintendo's attitude. So at least they've remained consistent.
Yeah, they're a bunch of assholes, but people like their games. You know,
well, it's not even they're assholes because they do Nintendo to fans. They just kind of hold very firm to we're going to do things our way. We're going to take our time. We're going to do something quality. You will like what we do, but we're going to do it at our own pace when we goddamn feel like it. And customers bitch and moan and they groan and everything like that, but every fucking Mario that comes out kills it. Every Zelda that comes out fucking kills it. You show me a Pokemon game that's not a critical success. Like, every time. And that's one thing we hear. Like, first-party Nintendo games, like, man, they kill it. They kill it. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, they always sell. That's true.
So Nintendo kind of it's one of those, yeah, like it's like a diva. Like, man, every time they're Kanye. For some fucking reason, everything they touch is gold. So you just kind of have to put up with all the weird stuff that they do. If they want all green M&Ms in their dressing room, fine. If that's how we're gonna get a hit, then that's how we're gonna get hit. That's just how it is. So it's a really weird. It's a weird situation. They're like, we listen to you. We just don't really. Nah, I'm going over here to do this thing. It's not malicious. You guys know what I mean?
I don't. Yeah, who with Nintendo? I can't.
Like, do you ever feel like Nintendo's an asshole, or do you like actually an asshole? Because I don't. Because like they talk to their people too much. I don't feel like they're being an asshole. I just feel like they're being dismissive. Just
yeah. Again, it's hard to
I know exactly how to explain it, but that's something. No, I'm not saying that shit on there.
Yeah, Nintendo. They're a weird company. I've learned this generation that I do not understand the inner workings of Nintendo nor its fan bases. So I'm not gonna try because I will be wrong. You know. Every time Nintendo, I could understand Microsoft, what they're doing. I could understand what Sony's doing. Nintendo, I don't know what the fuck's going on over there. I don't know what's going on with the company. I don't know what's going on with the fans. They're both alien to me. They're weird, you know?
Alien's a good term. And Nintendo is a very alien type company. I don't get what.
Like, even with Xbox, you guys know me. I don't like Xbox, right? But I understand where they're coming from. As fucked up as that is, I understand where they're coming from, right? Sony ponies, right? Annoying too. I understand where they're coming from. Nintendo fanboys, whatever the fuck we call them, Nintendrones. I don't know those motherfuckers. I don't know what's going on in their heads, man. I mean,
which ones are you talking about? Like, are they like fervent, fanatical, just straight up like not everything they touch is gold Nintendo fans?
Yeah, those, the motherfuckers that faint and shit. You know, when they announce Super Smash Brothers. You know.
I honestly think they're. You gotta
wait, say that again. You honestly think they what now?
I think that they're the minority. Excuse me.
I think there's
there's a lot of people like me. Like it's not that I'm a fanboy, and it's not that I even necessarily trust anything that Nintendo does. I regard it very critically, which is why I didn't buy the Wii U. But they generally have a good track record, especially with their first party games, of knowing what they're doing. So it's one of those like, I don't really know if I like them, but they do some solid shit.
Well, that goes back. By the way, Carlos, I know what you're gonna go. So what you're gonna say, you know, I'm not gonna call Brett out though, but I'm gonna say this.
No, call me out.
No. You know, so you understand. Oh, well, I'll let Carlos do it. But
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's like, again, it goes back to what I was saying before, right? Why are people putting up with all this bullshit from Nintendo? Because they get fucking games at the end. That's all that matters. Go ahead, Carlos.
All right, Brett, remember we talked before the show that said I was going to go at you for something? This is it.
Uh-oh.
Okay, let's do this.
You said Nintendo has a good track record with their first-party games, except for the Wii U. Did I hear that correctly?
I don't think Brett said that exactly, man.
No, I didn't mean that they're gay. If I implied in any way that the first party games on the Wii U were not decent games, that's not what I intended. They still have excellent games, and a lot of people missed out on them, which is why I think they're being ported to Switch.
Apology accepted.
Yeah, using like the thing, but Brett, you understand where I'm coming from? It's like, yeah, Nintendo has like bullshit. They treat their fans like crap or whatever. Their systems are not the most powerful, but why do people stick with them? The games, man.
Yeah, Nintendo's legacy is built almost entirely on the games. I wouldn't say that they treat. And that's the thing. I wouldn't say they treat their people like crap. Like they have their Nintendo Directs. They reach out to their fans. It's just when they want, and they tell you as much as they want, and then they just leave. It's just it's very alien.
Yeah.
It's not that they're assholes. They're just kind of almost robotic.
Yeah, I was gonna say the thing that keeps popping in my mind is that they're very cold company. There's no warmth there, and whatever warmth you may see, it's manufactured. At least obviously that happens with every company. Let's just be honest here, but it just feels that way with Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just. They're not human. It's like you're talking to like a bunch of robots are trying to sell you shit. It's like robots wearing human skins. That's how I feel about it. It's just manufactured and like disingenuous. I don't know. Maybe that's just
not
me.
disingenuous. It feels like they're trying. They're just not good at it.
Yeah, but they're making their money. So what can you do? Anyway, I think we're done here, people. Good show tonight and all that other stuff. I don't think I have any announcements here. Oh, I do. I already talked to her behind the scenes, though. But Cool Cat Terry, I unfortunately cannot get her keyboard out because of the corona shit. My post office is closed, but she was cool about it. She's like, yeah, whenever you can, don't worry about it. So, Terry, I'll get that out to you when I can. And next time, because I don't have it prepared, I'll shout out her because she does Twitch streams and stuff. So I'll shout her out next time. Got to give back to the fans, man. Like we talk about, Brett. I guess that's the theme of the night. Got to appreciate your fans, and I appreciate all you motherfuckers out there, man.
Yeah, and I'm actually everybody.
Oh, say that again, Brett. You cut out, bro.
I said, keep in mind, people, we have a questions.
Yes.
I threw out with. Throw us a question about it. Call me out. Make me a fool. And I appreciate all of you listening. My bullshit. You guys are so bad. Keep coming back and listening for some reason. So I love you guys.
That's what's up. Yeah, exactly. And also, and we talked about this on in the Discord. If you guys feel that there is something in the gaming industry that we're not covering, again, listen. We're not going to cover everything, you guys may be interested in because we talk about, let's just be honest, we talk about the things we are interested in. But we have another show to fill in those gaps. So if you want to ask us questions about anything, particularly Nintendo, I'm looking at you, Dan, I believe it is, Pac Dan. He's like, why don't you guys talk about Nintendo? I'm like, most of us aren't interested in Nintendo, but we have another podcast for that, bro. So anything Nintendo, anything you feel that we don't talk about enough on the show, ask us about it for the question show, and we will get to it for sure, And that's that.
Trust me, I talk about Nintendo to these guys a lot.
Yeah.
You want to know something? Just ask.
Oh man! All right, guys. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, just again, we got the question show. Make sure you ask us stuff, man. All right. So thank you for watching and listening. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero. Oh, he's muted. Brett Murdoch.
It has been real.
Yes, man. Yo, Carlos, what's up, man?
Yo, man, I'm can't leave this a Carlo-less world, man.
Yeah. Perfect. And Brian Manjoma.
It's been real, people.
All right, man. We'll see you on Sunday later.
This is
There you go.